Hello there, everybody. Welcome here today to Glarious Smite League Upper Division as we bring you Team Britain versus Archies. Now, it's already quite early on in the season, but we'll start to see how teams start to shape up as both of these teams have won their first game so far. But I am Judas Priestley, joined today by Obese Panda. And Panda, how are you doing this evening?
Yeah, all good. Excited to see how Upper Division performs after we all just watched my 4K damage game. So it'll be good to good to get some advice off these guys.
Well, we'll have to see exactly how they decide to line up. Now, will be an interesting little look today, as apparently Upper Division doesn't really know how to make lobbies correctly. And this game has been blind picked, so we'll be filling through the picks without any bans just yet. But an interesting one, Panda, that hasn't been banned out is Lancelot, already top picked, with Yuhuang King Arthur already picked. I have no idea actually what they could have banned, because these are some really high priority picks.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I don't know what they could have done here. Now, in the solo, not. I don't see it doing well into a King Arthur, so I'll be surprised to see if this goes into the jungle or the solo lane. Huang just pretty high up there at the minute. A lot of DPS, very safe, and then King Arthur and lane really, so 2, 3 even pretty top picks is.
Yeah, of course, because Yuhuang right now, just such a high priority in the middle lane. Sort of the one mid laner that stands out right now as their own little class, right? You know, you have a Yuhuang in your mid lane, and you already know you're just off to a decent start. It's sort of hard to top this god. Now, we have seen certain picks come up against it, like an Amu's in Carb, maybe, but other than that, Yuhuang just very reliable, safe pick. But something that is a reliable, safe pick for Archies is Loki in the jungle, probably played by Ragnarok, and I think we're already off to something spicy.
Yeah, we're going to be seeing some sort of cheese coming out here, I feel like, if we've got the Loki pick. I'm not actually too sure of the interaction. Can Huang's 3 get out of Umoja ult, or will he be stuck at those walls?
So when I have checked in the past, I believe Yuhuang doesn't cross over Odin's Ring of Spears, which leads me to believe it shouldn't get them out of the I've forgotten the ability name. How do we forget this one? This is the easy one. It's River's Rebuke. It doesn't get you out of River's Rebuke, I believe. But we'll have to see, because when you have gods that have a unique new abilities, such as this sort of self-banish coming through from Yuhuang, it is interesting sometimes where it might be a bit inconsistent. We might see that it does cross over the River's Rebuke and doesn't cross over the Ring of Spears, but we'll keep an eye on that situation to check exactly how that interaction plays out. But Kumbhakana being locked in very likely as the support for Archies, and Kumbhakana just one of those strange supports, Panda, that we sometimes see do very well and sometimes just ends up being quite ineffective.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the opposite. I don't think Kumba's going to do fantastic here. I mean, you've got Ravana, who's never getting hit by that root because he's going to backflip. Lancelot doesn't get affected by a lot of Kumba's CC when he's on the horse, and other than that, they've no channeled abilities that he can interrupt. So I'm not too sure what they're seeing in the Kumba, but then at the other time, he's not played that often, so some people kind of just get thrown off by his ability to just go around mezzing. So we'll see how that goes. But I would probably, just on a first glance, I'm probably saying Team Britain has the stronger draft. It kind of, for me, I want to see what this Loki's going to do, because I feel like that's going to make or break the game. I mean, if Loki gets behind, that's really not what you want to see. But he can just kind of get the game in the first 10 minutes and start being a menace. So we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, definitely the focus point of Archies. Everywhere else on their draft, King Arthur and solo, very stable, doesn't exactly take over a game. Yuhuang in the mid lane, of course, again, a reliable pick, but doesn't take over the game. And Loki's really the only god that they've picked that can do that. Whereas on the other side, for Team Britain, even Yamoja can take over a game in the right hands. You know, if they're given the right opportunity, it can be the absolute star of the show. And you know, even Lancelot or Ravana, either one in the jungle, definitely a frightening god to deal with. But we will be heading into this first game of this best of 3 set. And it will be interesting to see how both of these teams line up. So we'll do a quick run through of each player. Now for the order side, for Team Britain, we've got East picking up the Ravana in the solo lane. We have Panda Zap on Lancelot in the jungle, with Rosie on Baba Yaga in the middle lane, and Demise on Yamoja as the support. Meanwhile, also, we have Wowie there. Oh, Wooey. Let's go with Wooey.
Wooey,
on
we were
Medusa.
debating.
Yeah, we debated this name a little bit. We're going with Wooey today. We got Wooey on the Medusa. Can't forget the Hunter player, of course, but Archies as well. On the Chaos side, we have Nikos on King Arthur in the solo lane, with Ragnarok on Loki in the jungle, Seagull as Yu Huang in the mid lane, with Frostbite 20 on Kumbhakana support, and Davros as the Hu Yi. Now, again, Panda, we're seeing both of these teams opt for the same mid and jungle start, red to speed. Is that just the way forward these days?
Yeah, I think there's not much capability of getting these kind of ganks or pressure off in mid lane, because there's nothing to really grab by the Harpies over there, sorry, the Oracles. So I think most people are preferring to just see if they can either get the cringe gank in solo, or just kind of feed the full wave to their mid laner to see if they can get something up and running. So this seems to be the start we're seeing the whole time.
Yeah, and of course, King Arthur and Raven, two gods that do pretty well into the cringe gank as well. They're not the easiest gods to lock down at any point in the game, even at this very, very early stage. But, you know, both junglers opting to go back to that middle lane. It looks like it's about even pressure, although Team Britain taking a little bit longer to clear off their mid wave. Almost gave an opportunity for the Oracle pressure to be coming out of Archies, but Frostbite low health on this Kumbhakana. I have recently cast this Archies team, and it seemed to be a bit of a staple that Frostbite played this Kumbhakana extremely recklessly early on and got low health, but didn't end up being punished for it. Now, a lot of mid pressure coming the way of Archies, and Frostbite low health on the dual lane side. Bit of a fast start, but is this about as you would have expected these lanes to go?
Yeah, I mean, look, you've got Umoja and Medusa. They're not really going to run into any troubles against the Kumba and the Hu Yi here, especially if Kumba's decided he's just going to walk up in front and take all the damage. You know, we've got Loki here. Maybe going to be first blood. Yeah, there we go. Panda's up goes down. Hu Wang, first blood. Rosie's well trying to get something back, but it's not going to go anywhere. So that's Archie's with a first blood and a 700 gold lead.
Yeah, very tight moment there at the mid camps where just Pandazap stepped up a little bit too high, and you know, Ragnarok on this Loki gets a lot of that backstab damage coming through. Frostbite forced down into the Sleepy Time passive and does get caught off as well. So first blood immediately matched back by Team Britain, and we are now 1-1 kills. A very, very fast start for an EU game.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, look, if you're Archies, you're still happy enough. You've got your first blood bounty on the Hu Wang, who you're going to want to out pressure the Baba Yaga, who can be a bit slow in the early game. I mean, Kumba taking a dip, even if he's level 2 or if he's level 20, the Mez and his ult do the exact same things, so it doesn't feel terrible from behind. But it's still good for the mental of Team Britain to get a quick callback there.
Yeah, you always want to be, you know, not giving up too much to your opponents, especially when both teams are, you know, equal in the pace of their draft. You know, neither team has a particularly early draft or particularly late game based draft. Both of these teams just sort of want to get going from the get go. So having, you know, a small deficit early on, you know, can quite quickly spew over into something much more sinister. So it's definitely nice for Team Britain to get that bit of an equalizing kill. It's still, you know, decent gold lead for Archies though, which means that they have the wiggle room, like you said, happy with the first blood bounty being on Yu Huang, as that is the type of god that does very, very well with a lead. But, you know, Team Britain will have to at some point shut down this Yu Huang. And do you think they have the tools in their draft to handle them?
I mean, when you've got the Lancelot, maybe he's got a lot of burst potential, but you're just seeing right here, Yu Wang just goes up into the sky and and he's kind of out for free unless you've got a lot of lockdown, and CC is not really heavy between the Lancelot and the Baba Yaga, especially if it's only just soft CC like roots.
Yep.
So yeah, I think the Huang is going to be sitting pretty. I have just noticed though that Loki's started with an Aegis, which is an interesting pickup. Oh, here we go. Actually, Pandazap getting ulted by the Loki in Ragnarok. Looks like he's going to pick up this second kill if he can just follow him here. He has to be going
He swiped
down
early.
soon.
He swiped a
Does he
touch
have?
too early, has Ragnarok, and there's the horse
Oh, the
coming through
horse.
from Pandasat. The invisibility to close the distance, not enough though. And despite all the
Oh,
poison ink coming through, Pandasat will live and Ragnarok will fall down. Ragnarok decided they were going hell for leather for that kill. Now, they do, of course, only die to the tower, but it can't feel good to have a kill in your grasp and just let it go like that, especially on someone who plays a lot of this god. But there's a Petrify coming through. It hits
Medusa
Frostbite in the
gets the
backside.
stun.
Nice magic shell to keep themselves alive, and Davros, low health, despite being the aggressor, has to retreat. And Wooey, feeling great on this Medusa so far, has had all the pressure and all the freedom.
Yeah, I mean, that's good to see that the duo lane's keeping up their pressure, especially even if they knew that Loki was kind of charging through. But again, he went face first into that tower there. That's where, again, I would have liked to see the blink maybe on Loki. He gets that kill 100% of the time, but this Aegis, not too sure what it's for. Yeah, so he goes down for free. It's going to give the assist to Lancelot, but of course he didn't fully get the kill. East now under pressure. Loki back in trying to make things happen. King Arthur knocks up, and they've got the ult out of East, but he's going to be okay.
Mystic Rush from Raven, so hard to close down, of course. You can't really stop it. Just at some point, this Raven can fly on out as soon as he feels like he's under a bit too much pressure. But Ragnarok getting very active on the map. Now finds a sneak attack onto Rosie. Gets the assassinate, burns the purification beats. Home Sweet Home comes through, but the Dueling Dragons doesn't connect with the damage, and Rosie will live to fight another day. But it got dicey there, and Ragnarok and this Loki can sort of do that whenever you want, right? Loki can just put out so much pressure onto a mid laner that steps up.
Yeah, I mean, if we go now, the gold lead is extended another 300 golds. While Loki's not actually really picked up any kills, he's basically just forcing backs and forcing ults constantly. So it's actually really good stuff from Ragnarok here to kind of just keep the pressure all over the map. Just kind of notice he's not really gone over to duo because that seems to be not the focus. He's just going mid and solo, where the pressure on their team seems to be because it's the duo lane. This Medusa's running that side of the map, so I feel like they're happy enough to stall out that map and see if they can just keep converting this Huang lead from the first blood.
Yeah, of course, Medusa and Huyi, very similar style of hunters in that they want to be showing up in team fights later on. Both have very good abilities for team fighting, lots of wide area of effect abilities. So, you know, both teams will be relatively happy just getting to the team fight stage. But of course, more pressure being on the side of Team Britain in this duo lane means that they will have a ever so slight advantage, especially if Archies don't decide to punish it. Now, Wooey lurking around this purple buff. The Ricochet has gone down. Davros is aware that the Medusa is hanging about, but the reinforcements are coming faster from Team Britain. And there's Wooey's trading out some blows. Demise as well. Made the rotation over, but now the support and mid laner from Archies has arrived. And Seagull coming under some pressure from this Lancelot. Goes up into the Celestial Flight, but there's the Home Sweet Home from Rosie. Firing down some shots, and Seagull will fall down. Step just too far ahead. And now Frostbite under even more pressure as 3 members still here. Do they have the Sleepy Time passive? Yes, they do. Pandazap trying to stab through into this tower range, and that is a double kill for Rosie on the Baba Yaga. And all of a sudden, Team Britain almost completely wipe out their gold deficit.
Yeah, so that all kind of starts off by the fact that the red team is very slow to rotate to this purple buff that Medusa was kind of putting pressure on, and Team Britain just kind of collapses on all over them. Really for it. So yeah, that's 2 really good pickups for Team Britain.
Of course, as Baba Yaga, you want to get off to a decent start because, you know, the mid laners right now are relatively slow, but there's the Assassinate coming onto Rosie as well. Forces the blast off out, but, you know, I think Ragnarok could have done enough damage there without needing to use that cooldown, so maybe a little bit over anxious to get a counter pick onto this Baba Yaga, but Pendazap again in the spot where they gave up first blood will dash forward. Actually, you know, Frostbite Unseen will be able to just horsey on out of there, though, and will feel safe enough to just walk away. But, you know, are Team Britain doing the right things that they need to at this point of the game, where they're not getting too aggressive, but they are trying to make things happen?
Yeah, I think now that Baba Yaga's got her full Warlock staff, you just saw she'd no ult, no beads, and Loki only kind of really got her down to half health, not much of a problem. So now they're getting a bit more comfortable. I think that they're happy enough to just keep farming this one out and try get the picks that they can. They're resisted a lot of the pressure from Loki that we were seeing earlier, and that seems to be falled off a bit. Loki's lost his lead. He's tied up with the Lancelot there, so. Yeah, seems to be like Team Britain have stabilized this after they took the spill in the early game. So they can keep converting this to the direction it's been going. We might be able to see Team Britain getting a bit of a lead here.
Of course, gold leads don't tend to materialize this early on, but we're seeing slight experience differences, particularly in the mid and ADC roles, ever so slightly favoring Team Britain, but this game is still fairly evenly balanced, especially with the compositions both teams have gone for, as I said, and neither one particularly falls off, but there's Rosie forced into the home sweet home. Ragnarok putting a ton of pressure onto this Baba Yaga. Hasn't really had the luck yet, of course, no kills onto Rosie, but definitely falling low, and I think, is that what you still want to be doing as Ragnarok? Even if you're not successfully getting these kills, do you still put all of your pressure onto Rosie on this Baba Yaga?
Well, I mean, look, if I'm Ragnarok, I think we've already seen with East, it was hard for him to get the gank off. They tried to lock down the Ravana, and he's just with Soul Eater, he's just going to be Mystic rushing out of there, backflipping. We've seen that the Medusa and Yamoja have kind of got the pressure onto Hui here, who's actually been forced to use the ult and over the wall. So mid lane seems to be the only option here if I'm Ragnarok to try and keep the pressure going, but it doesn't seem to be converting into much bar forced ultimates. But the team fights aren't happening quick enough that this is meaningful.
Yeah, of course, it's hard to get your mid laners involved at this stage anyway. You know, mid lane tends to we don't really see too much impact until about the 4th item slot gets online, but they are, of course, very key parts of the team, especially around these objectives, which haven't been looked at yet. Still poking and prodding both teams at each other, but you know, Archies trying to make something happen onto Rosie is clearly the play, because we've been seeing Frostbite getting very, very aggressive onto this Baba Yaga, who now has the purification beads right back up, along with that home sweet home. So Baba Yaga pretty much untouchable in this situation, but it's left both hunters on a bit of an island, and Davros doing a ton of damage to Wooey. These two hunters going right back and forth, because we saw the exact opposite happen on the other side of the map just a few moments previously, and I think both hunters will enjoy this sort of matchup, right? You know, you get to box your little heads off as much as you want. It's almost like solo lane over there, where they're just firing shots back and forth, but no one yet having a clear-cut advantage. And this is all just sort of settled, right, Panda, for some big explosions as we get towards the mid and late game.
Yeah, I mean, especially if I'm Davros there, that's a big mental win for me, that you're still being able to go toe to toe with Medusa and forcing her to back. Especially we've seen her pretty much have the pressure the whole time. Now Ragnarok going for the ult beats from the Medusa. OE trying to get the knockup, but he can't. But they pick up the kill anyway, so that is great for Archies there, that they've finally converted some pressure into the duo lane. Davros is going to be very happy with that, and Ragnarok has finally converted this bullheaded approach fast as he can into all of Team Britain and seeing if something could happen. And Rosie actually getting combo to there, and Hugh Wong's going to be using the Dueling Dragons.
No way!
Rosie gets out what I'd say that couldn't be more than 40 HP.
No way, stays alive, and now Pandazap under some pressure on the other side of the map. Has to retreat on out of there with those jousting lists, and now East may come under some pressure as well. Gets knocked up. This Raven under some pressure. Does have the Mystic rush away, but very, very low health, and a couple more ticks, and again, Team Britain member stays alive with the barest amount of health, but Nikos this time will charge through and punish them for it. You don't want to be giving up 2 kills just like that. After getting a nice pick in dual lane, dropping a kill in mid lane, they do manage to convert the kill in soul lane as well. And they might well turn this into a pyromancer.
Yeah, 4 members now on the right-hand side of the map. Doesn't look like Team Britain's going to be shown face here, so this is a free pyro off that pick on East. It's unfortunate that King Arthur got the blink off and got him under tower, so Starting to see our first bit of objective play. Still not a terrible lead in either one-way direction, but if your team Archies are feeling good right now.
Yeah, converting 2 quick picks into a Pyromancer, of course, very, very important. And Wowie again getting aggressed on. There's the Sunbreaker coming through. A lot of damage onto Wowie, who burns the Petrify. Of course, already had the Aegis and Purification beads lost in the previous fight, but now Frostbite caught in the River's Rebuke. Gets very low health again into that Sleepy Time passive. Will eventually be poked on down by Panda Zap. And yet again, Team Britain fight back as the brawl continues in this duel lane. Davros is hunting for this pick, will not get it. And Team Britain have plenty of fight in them, but Archies still have the gold lead.
Yeah, I mean, if we see now that Medusa has both of her relics down, she's lost her ult. It seems to be going fairly 50-50 in these fights, although the last two, Hoi seems to have been getting a bit of the edge up here. So if I'm Panda Zap, I'd maybe want to be sticking around on the left-hand side, especially if the two ADCs are pretty content with just fighting in the middle of the lane. I'd be kind of communicating that and being saying, okay, well, look, I've got Hoi here. He's just got no CC immunity bar his beads, so if they could put a bit of pressure on the left hand side of that map there for Team Britain, that's what I'd be saying. But it doesn't seem to be like Panda Zap is particularly interested in going over there to help the Medusa. So we'll see how that kind of unfolds now in the next few minutes once we start getting our third items online.
It is, of course, relevant for Team Britain that they do have 4 kills, but only, well, the main target of those kills has been Frostbite on this Kumbhakana. 3 deaths. Of course, the 1 death on Ragnarok doesn't count as a kill, because that one did go the way of the tier 2 tower on the left-hand side. So it's not really that many kills when you think about it, especially because Frostbite now not going to have too much in the way of value, but Panda Zap's still trying to get aggressive onto the enemy support, but takes a lot of damage from Seagull. Blinking forward is Nikos, though, will get up into the sky with Excalibur's Wrath, but now East on the rotation over as well. Means that Frostbite is low health, doesn't have the Sleepy Time passive just yet. The home sweet home damage coming through. Frostbite with the epic uppercut away. Will surely escape. No, because East will Mystic Rush over the wall and slam them down. Can they get out of the tower range? Yes, they just about can, but Ragnarok on scene as well. Put a lot of damage on this Robin on the retreat. Yes, the Assassinate coming through. The Soul Lane will fall down, as in the left-hand side of the map. Finally, Wooey gets the revenge with a Petrify onto Davros. Means this is a 2-for-1 trade in favor of Team Britain.
Yeah, so we finally see the conclusion of all the fighting in the duo lane there. It looks like Wowie's decided that he's had enough. He's got the solo kill, and that should pretty much be, if Wowie can keep that, he should be pretty much ahead for the next 3-4 minutes if he can manage to not get ganked and hold on to that pressure. And then as well as we've seen East able to get a pick, but then after that spilling over as well. So nice 2-1 trade there for Team Britain.
Of course, they were very aggressive with Team Britain in that whole engagement. There was some back and forth from both teams, but Team Britain weren't really the aggressors early on, but they ended up converting it into a decent win for them. But Panda Zap getting in some more pressure. It's only level 13 on this Lancer, of course, just a little bit ahead of the support, so it's given up quite a bit of a level lead in the jungle. Certainly something you want to watch out for, because Ragnarok is here as well. There's the invisible Loki. Gets bonked away, though, by Panda Zap, who will give chase, but Davros finds the stun, and Panda Zap getting just sort of tossed up and down all around right now. Does go away with the Grand Jest, but Ragnarok's waiting right into the Loki, but Loki doesn't decide to go for that. Goes for the bigger fish in Wooey, who gets blown up by the ricochet, and Nikos picks up the kill. Now Rosie gets chased away. Davros cleaning that one up, despite the home sweet home. Now Panda Zap is still being chased on through this entire engagement. There's Nikos with the Excalibur's Wrath. Yet again will slam down Lancelot to the grave, as East finally on the rotation over decides they cannot push forward any further, and Archies now take their aim at the Gold Fury.
Yeah, I mean, look, we just saw a bit of life from Team Britain, and they've kind of that's gone now, as I said about the Medusa. That lead, but it's...
Ooh. Oh no.
He's trying his best to try get in there, but it looks like that the Frostbite's going to hold on. So that's actually going to be a 5-0 and the Gold Fury for Archies. So now they've kind of converted almost a 5k gold lead here. So that's a big turning point for the match. Team Britain are got to be worried.
Yeah, that's an 18-minute deicide. Certainly not something we see very, very often. And of course, converted into a Gold Fury, into a Tier 1 tower, possibly into a Pyromancer as that's about to spawn as well. It's all of a sudden snowballed very quickly in favor of Archie. So now we have to start seeing what does Team Britain do come time for these Fire Giant dances. We're seeing Lancelot being bullied around a bit, even in their own jungle by Nikos on this King Arthur. Still, only 39 stacks on the Transcendence. But if you are Team Britain, Panda, and you do have to set up for a bit of a Fire Giant dance, do you think they have what it takes to poke and prod at Archies despite the level disparity and maybe even threaten a Fire Giant steal?
I mean, look, Baba Yaga's got her 2 pots. That's going to be good for a bit of poke. Pandazap can throw out the horse, but he's going to obviously have to be on that. Ravana, terrible in the poke game. And then as well, kind of, unless Medusa can hit her 2 there, I think they're going to be looking pretty rough, especially with a 4-level deficit now in the jungle. So this Lancelot is going to be having a very tough time. We've got a 4-level deficit in the solo lane as well. 5 now for the jungle. So really, this Baba Yaga and your Medusa are you're going to be your two damage dealers here. So maybe I can see if there's a world where Umoja can get off a good ult, maybe block off 1 or 2 of the members of Team Archies, and they can get a pick. But I'm favoring Team Archies right now in a Fire Giant dance completely.
Well, that does surely mean that Team Britain will have to turn their attention elsewhere, and it looks like the attention will head to Davros in this left-hand side, because there's Demise, but on cue, here's Ragnarok on this Loki, spots out the enemy support. This should chase away Demise from wanting to aggress any further, but not Ragnarok. Ragnarok chasing even faster through this jungle as Demise steps up, but in the middle lane, Rosie under some pressure goes into the home sweet home. Seagull will float on away with that Celestial Flight, but Pandazap not willing to give it up. There's the Dueling Dragons to clear some distance, but there's the Grand Joust coming right back on top of this Yu Kwang and will take them down, but Rosie now gets caught by the rotation back in from Ragnarok, and Pandazap locked into the air with the Epic Uppercut means that Ragnarok with the Assassinate will finish off the enemy jungler. It's a nice pick to get, but do they give up too much in the process? Because Demise now under a lot of pressure will get a Riptide to safety. Wooey relatively safe, still a bit left unscathed on this left-hand side, but every fight just edging the way of Archies right now.
Yeah, I mean, look, from Rosie there, if you see Pandazap going in, I mean, look, you've got a level 15 Lancelot diving the T1 with 3 players around him. He's going to die. I mean, it's good that he gets the pick, and if I'm Team Britain, I say, right, if you want to go dive, I mean, any trade that you make for Pandazap right now is pretty much worthwhile because, again, aside from the Kumbhakarna, he's behind everyone. So I'd kind of send the Lancelot in. Don't get the helper syndrome, but Rosie, after getting her ult forces, tips back in, and then we see a 2-1 going back again in the favor of Archies. So that's very unfortunate for Team Britain, which was otherwise a worthwhile trade with the jungler to mid there.
Yeah, of course, it's tough if you are Rosie to know exactly where to stand, right? You of course want to help your jungler not only get the kill, you know, of course played a part in that, but then get them out safely as well. Just showing face as a big damage mage can, you know, often turn the tide, but you know, Loki just doesn't care about all that. They want to find an angle where you're not expecting it, and another assassinate onto Rosie forces the beads and the home sweet home, but the Dueling Dragons placed directly on the head of the Baba Yaga will clean them up, and then Seagull floats on away, but there's a really good River's Rebuke as combined with the Riptide and a double stun, but Demise can't lock anyone down more than that, and getting knocked up again into the sky is Pandazap, who falls down to the Epic Uppercut. Now east of the rotation over, but this relatively tanky Raven doesn't quite put out the damage numbers needed to take down this very tanky front line of Archies, and another fight goes cleanly in favor of Archies, and Team Britain need to be careful they don't give up too many more picks.
Yeah, I mean, now this is kind of starting to spiral a bit out of control. I mean, Pandazap and Rosie, they've just seen in the mid lane how they can get picked off, and they're still standing as if they had the T1 tower there, which they obviously didn't. And Loki, again, being so active in this jungle, I feel like they need to be like, okay, we either need to step back or we're just going to get ganked on here. So I think maybe he believed in the safety of the home sweet home there with the shield and everything, but the Dueling Dragons and the Assassinate are too much for that shield and health. So we're going to see a Fire Giant dance here, but it looks like that's going in the way of Archies. Oh, East tries to go in for the steal, unsuccessful. Probably going to get picked off unless he can get out. We've got the Emoji here as well, trying to escape. And it looks like Team Britain might get all their members out here despite losing the Fire Giant. Oh, never mind. Loki back at it again. Home Sweet Home has been used. Dueling Dragons again catches out Rosie out of her ultimate. And Nico's still trying to follow on here. And then East as well gets caught out. So that's 2 members and the FG for Team Archies. So they're going to be looking at this mid T2. And possibly if I'm them, I'm going straight to that Phoenix.
Yeah, too much bled away there from Team Britain. They go for a contest very, very late, it has to be said, and give up quite a lot in the process. Now, this Phoenix half health. It's still relatively early for a Phoenix take, but Pendazep can't put out enough damage. Nico slamming against 3 members and winning as charging down onto Wooey. Makes them very low, but Pendazep falls down to a couple of extra shots from Davros. There was a close opportunity there for maybe a Titan push, but Archies decide to play it safe. Back up, take the rest of these tier 2 towers, put themselves in an even better position than they already find themselves in. And right now, Panda, what is the fight back for Team Britain? How do they get themselves into this game?
If I'm Team Britain, I'm looking to the heavens right here and I'm praying, because right now it's not looking too great. I mean, the best I can see now is you want to stick to these 2 birds and you just want to hope that Team Archies has some sort of a spill. I mean, you've got good defense with Umoja and Medusa. They're going to be okay with holding down the defense, but Loki's just so slippery, especially the King Arthur as well. I mean, King Arthur and Kumba effectively both have banishes, so if they can get onto any of the members of Team Britain and catch them with one of those, they're basically sitting ducks for the rest of the damage that's sitting there. So yeah, it's really not looking good. We've got a 13k deficit now for Team Britain. A lot of the builds should be coming to completion here as well for Archies as they hit the 70k mark. So yeah, from Team Britain, I'm sweating.
Yeah, I think you'd be sweating all the way back to the Phoenixes. Of course, this left side tier 2 still even about half health. You can't even put up a defense here if you wanted to. You're all sort of forced to hold off multiple members, especially having this mid lane Phoenix already down. It means that you can't 5-man group into this left side Phoenix to defend it. They don't even have the luxury of some sort of semi-global ultimate. You know, the best they've got is Pendazap with the Grand Joust to make the rotation back on over, as Ragnarok even soloing down the Primal Fury in the process, taking absolutely everything off the map. Archies maybe playing it a little bit slow though here, Panda. If you're Archies, would you just pull the trigger and go for it?
I mean, look, there's 2 ways to kind of go this. They can bullet in. I feel like they win it. And if I'm them, that's probably what I do. But I mean, you can play this in quotes the right way. Take it slow. Wait for the next fire. Pick up the gold. Pick up the pyromancer, and just solidify this. But you know, there is a bit of a worry that, you know, especially when Baba Yaga starts hitting these items. She's got Soul Reaver now. Like they're going to be doing damage. They're going to be able to do damage. So yeah, I would have liked to see them threaten this left-hand Phoenix, and it makes getting the FG so much easier as well once you have that Phoenix down. I mean, mid lane is, you know, the second best in terms of pressure with these minion waves, but if they'd got that left one, they've more or less won this game. I mean, they've still probably also won this game, but now a little bit of room, unless East might be getting picked up here on the right-hand side. Rosie forced out her ultimate again. He's Mr. Rush out there now. He's got 4 members of Team Archies here on him. Oh, he's got the blink though. He might be out of here. Ooh, the ricochet nearly gets him.
Yeah, that would have been a close one.
And to just die to the tower here, maybe, or just stall these. Oh, he's going to clear the minion wave, maybe just to. Yeah, okay. He's done well here actually to get us to waste as much time as possible.
They're gonna make it all the way to the base. Maybe he can finish his build. Can he get the last couple items online? No, he can't. Does get stopped down. But of course, Fire Giant buff is now actually expired for Archies. So they try to look for a quick pick, but it doesn't mean they can't push this aggression any further. It means they will definitely now have to wait for this next Fire Giant, which just gives the rest of the team that little bit of extra time. You know, all right, East is dead for another 40 seconds, but Team Britain aren't going to contest this Fire Giant even with a full 5-man stack. So understandable that you go for that. It wasted a hell of a lot of time, which, you know, like you mentioned, gives us Medusa a little bit more time to finish the build, gives the Baba Yaga just that touch more gold. Although, as I say that, Rosie gets caught with the assassinate coming through. through, and now it's a very bad spot as PandaZap jumps off the horse right in front of 3 members. Will be able to grand joust on out of there. This leaves the Fire Giant completely exposed. Mid lane Phoenix has respawned, but that's not going to matter too much as the 5-man of Archies, grouping up quite aggressively, actually, maybe looking to see if anyone does want to step up. Getting very, very aggressive in this jungle. Spots out Demise. There's Excalibur's Wrath. There's an early Dueling Dragons, though. Means that Demise on the retreat does not get away, though. Because Davros with that dive bomb is enough. And PandaZap this time falls down. Now Team Britain under a lot of pressure because Archies aren't even waiting for the Fire Giant. They take this mid lane Phoenix. East picks up Davros. That's a lot of structure damage off the table for Archies, but they are pushing in to this Titan room. It's just East and Wooey for another 10 seconds or so. Wooey takes a ton of damage early on and has to retreat back to the base into the fountain, healing up, but still the Titan still lives about half HP as Wooey's taking another chunk of damage, lifted into the sky as East falls back down, but there's Rosie trying to put out a little bit more damage. A lot of low health members on Archies, and they've overstepped the mark. They have not finished off this game. They have blown the door wide open for Team Britain to have a window at this Fire Giant. Seagull on the retreat as well, and Archies do not convert this game into a win just yet.
Yeah, that is really not what you wanted to see from Team Archies there. I mean, and Rosie finishes off. That's going to be a delayed timer from Seagull as well, so I don't see there's anything stopping Team Britain from getting this. It's actually going to be EFG if they can hold on the 15 seconds, but we've got a full health King Arthur here. There's a lot of low... Oh, King Arthur going in. Wowie under pressure. They're going to have to try lock down this King Arthur. He's kind of just having fun here. The Emoji ult, he slips out of the Emoji ult. Mystic Rush going to connect. And that's going to be him gone. Okay, so we're going to be seeing EFG on all 5 members here of Team Britain. It looks like Hoi might try show face here, but to be honest, I'm going the other direction if I'm Deep Davros there. Oh, he's put down the Suns.
Breaker comes through. Demise falls
he
down.
gets the pick.
Dashing away is Davros, and the Fire Giant will go the way of Team Britain. PandaZap onto Huyi. No way to escape this Lancelot this time. And, they don't get a full 5-man enhanced Fire Giant, but if you're going to lose it on anyone, it will be Demise. Nikos did what they could to stall out that push. PandaZap in some trouble from Frostbite, actually. You really don't want to fall down to the support in this situation, but, I mean, Panda have Team Britain done enough to be considered, well on their way to being ahead almost? When you have an enhanced Fire Giant, it's very rare you'd find yourself behind, and despite the Titan being half health, they're in a pretty good position right now.
Yeah, I mean, I think just after that failed siege by Archies, they've just decided, oh, by the way, do you guys actually want to get back into this game? And Team Britain said, yes, we do. So, now that they've gone over the 75k gold mark, that's pretty much on all builds are finished by the supports. And we're lacking one item there on PandaZap. But now, I wouldn't even call this game even, barring the fact that there's a half-health Titan there. There could be some Loki shenanigans afoot, we don't know. But, Team Britain have really crawled back into this one. And now with EFG on 4 members, this is looking pretty good. So they just need to not get picked off, group up, and kind of charge down a few of these towers. I'd probably be looking at mid lane just with those fire minions. Looks like there's a bit of brawling here, but I don't think it's going to amount too much. Oh, these actually Easton Demise out of position, going to get caught in this little corridor of death.
Rock as well, coming around the backside, spots out PandaZap, trying to get it back off. This Lancelot takes too much damage in a short space of time, but the root coming through from Wooey does take down Ragnarok. So this Loki's fallen down early. Grand Joust to escape, but not far enough as Nikos will slam down this Lancelot, but giving chase to Seagull is East. Very low health Yu Kwang, but a lot of damage from Davros means a couple of shots will take out this Robin, but dashes right into Rosie, but it's not enough as East falls down. Wooey will take down the opposing ADC. It's a real scrappy match, as it's a 2-for-2 already in this mid-jungle area. But it turns out that, it's a slight advantage for Archies, because now Team Britain have lost a few of those enhanced Fire Giant buffs, only have 2 left remaining on the team. They're still wanting to scrap this, but it looks like the mid lane Phoenix will revive. So I guess overall, this is just about okay for Team Britain.
Yeah, I mean, look, Archies are happy because they've stopped the CFG, and Team Britain are happy because they've got their Phoenix back, and that Titan's going to be going back to full health. So, no, Wowie's still wanting to fight, and he's going to get picked by the Hoi. Looks like, I think Emoji's safe here. She should be able to hopefully get out, especially with those I've forgotten the ability name there. But
The
yeah, there's
Riptides flying
the
through.
Riptides. There we go. Yeah, the Riptides are coming in through. Three of them gets her out of there. So yeah, I think Team Britain have kind of they've chose to fight in a corridor in the jungle. I would have likened to see that at more of an objective, and they kind of just got caught out. So yeah, the game's kind of tipped back over to even here.
And of course, Archies will want to get straight through this mid lane Phoenix because the Titan is now healing back up for Team Britain, and the Fire Giant's still over 40 seconds away. So there's not a major objective to be fighting over. Of course, the Primal Fury is still on the map, but who cares about the Primal Fury right now? But apparently Archies do, and they will take some time to take that down. As Team Britain just sort of turtling up, trying to finish off their builds, so still not quite there all across the board. They have most of what they need, and they all have their core items online, but as we will now finally see a full-on 5v5 Fire Giant dance, I believe, assuming nobody gets picked beforehand. With how the game has gone, Panda, would you say that this time Team Britain are in a position where they can contest a Fire Giant cleanly?
Yeah, look, if I'm Team Britain, I'm showing up to that. I'm feeling good that we're 50-50, but like especially if we look at these kills here, they're 9 kills behind, and I feel like a lot of that is in part to this Loki seems to be getting someone in like the 30-second or minute mark before this FG spawns. So if I'm Team Britain, I am not moving a muscle from my teammates until this Fire Giant comes up, because that'll be the big player, is if Team Archies can get another pick. And this time I don't see them ruining the siege, especially with still this weakened mid lane Phoenix. So oh look, they're they're waiting in the fog there. East goes in with the Mystic Rush, but he's kind of alone. And then we've got the Grand Joust there. Oh, Lancelot looks like he might get a pick. Ragnarok goes down to Wowie as well. Here comes the home sweet home, dishing out damage, kind of breaking them up, but it looks like it's just going to be a 1-0. But that's the pick they needed, so I'd like to see Rosie come back here and start the EFG.
Well, it looks like Fire Giant will be landing down in about 5 seconds. East showing a lot of face aggressively. Needs to be careful on this Raven, of course. Does get caught with a nice bounce. But Pandazap gets caught with a bigger blast from Seagull over the wall. And now Nikos will try to chase down this Lancelot. The cripple there, very important. Stops Pandazap being able to escape. Does mount up on the horse and should be able to get on out. But now the rest of the team's fighting is a big 4v4 engagement now on this left-hand side. A big Dueling Dragon. It's 3. Does a lot of damage. And now Team Britain, 2 low health to continue this fight. But Pandazap will take down Davros as Seagull continues to put out some more damage and takes down Pandazap themselves. But now this Fire Giant can't really be taken by either team as Wooey has to back to base. Nico, Seagull, and Frostbite don't really have the damage to take this down themselves. So this Fire Giant dance will continue on just a bit longer.
Yeah, I mean, look, even though from the game state that looks like it's gone even, Seagull, I feel, has completely saved the game for Archies there with that huge Dueling Dragons, because the fight was not going their way. They decided to take the 4v5 there, trying to get the kill onto Pandazap, but the emoji healing had got him out. So if that ult doesn't come through from that Hugh Wang, I feel like that's pretty much GG for Team Britain. But as I say, he got that ult, so he was able to save it. But now we've got 4 members versus 4 members, EFG. Dance starting again. I feel like Team Britain shouldn't be committing to this yet. I'd want to wait for the pick just to be safe. Loki coming around the back again, but seems to be, well, he seems to have his number now. He's going on to Rosie. Home Sweet Home comes out. Loki's going to be safe. He ults. Oh, Seagull picks up Rosie. Ragnarok very low. Looks like he's getting out. Wowie under pressure from this King Arthur. He's going to be taken down as well. Seagull willing to keep going with the aggression, but they've got East around the back corner here. He's looking to try see if he can get the King Arthur, but he misses the Mystic Rush. But he gets out safely. Now Kumba's got the blink. This is going to be East. Well, actually, we've got Pandazap coming around the back. Maybe he can do something. Oh, East does fall.
So staggered for Team Britain. They're always ending up one at a time coming into these fights, and now Davros finds that Hawk mark onto Pandazap, who cannot finish off Seagull. Davros takes down the enemy jungler. Fire Giant now, as you said, enhanced Fire Giant available for Archies, as all 5 members are ready and available. Now it's just Demise looking for a steal, but this Yamoja not going to be the tankiest of the targets here, as they do fall down despite being in the River's Rebuke. It is another DSI, this time at the 38-minute mark for Archies, who are very low health, but they do manage to clear clear off this enhanced fire giant finally. And what took like a very long time to get that objective down, it does finally go the way of Archies, who will now begin their next siege up of the enemy Phoenixes. And Team Britain, I'm not sure if they're going to have such an easy time defending it this time. Still only 2 members alive.
Yeah, I mean, there was less of a fire giant dance for the last 5 minutes and more of a drunken stumble across the line there for Archie's. Team Britain just at the very end there was kind of just sending player in one by one. And eventually that strategy is just not panned out. They were able to get all the picks they needed. So Loki here going to be going for the split push, and it doesn't look like Team Britain have the resources to defend both. So they've opted to go for this right-hand side Phoenix and defend that and leave Loki to himself. Demaris is going to be spawning here in 5 seconds, but the minions are coming in now, so I don't know if he's going to be here on time. Yeah, Loki's got that left-hand Phoenix. East going in for a bit of poke to kind of chase them off, so they will. Ooh, a lot of damage onto Seagull there. Seagull might fall here to Panda Zap. Kumba ult is sent. Panda Zap, but he's going to be fine. Minions going into the Titan room.
The Titan under a lot of damage because Ragnarok's pushing through. Loki shenanigans on the backside. It will not end the game, but it will give some extra space. But Nikos can't finish off Wowie, and the Medusa will pick up this King Arthur. Frostbite now falls down to the sleepy passive again, will eventually die off. And again, Archies get a big siege, get a Phoenix, but they end up wiping out most of their push. Titan again low health, but Archies still can't convert this game into a win.
Yeah, it's just if I'm Team Archies, you know Loki's over there split pushing. All you have to do is wait for that to be finished. There's no need to rush into the to fight the 4v4 when you have 5 men. Just let Loki get the left-hand Phoenix. Yamaja's going to be spawned, and you can see it in 2 minutes. So you're actually fighting at a disadvantage there almost, and then the fight doesn't go their way. So I think just patience is a little bit of a problem we're seeing on these sieges. And now we see Team Britain going to be taking the T2, getting these minion waves pushed all the way back up. Onai wave not going to be that effective. I believe that is an Onai fire wave and left, so that might be able to do something if East doesn't stick around to clear it off. But again, the game state's just trading back and forth here, and it looks like the mid Phoenix might be going down here for Team Britain. Doom Dragon's coming out from Seagull, but it doesn't look like he's going to be able to hit it. Yeah, that's mid Phoenix down gone. Yeah, Archies is well, Team Britain have actually done very well to fend that off again, so it's good to see.
Team Britain are still defending, but Wooey on the retreat. There's Ragnarok gets the assassinate, but this Medusa just about survives by virtue of the Aegis Hammer. That means that Archie's still on the back foot. They do have Enhanced Fire Giant on 2 members still, which is very important. But if Team Britain can get a full-on retreat, it just means they have to defend these only fire minions in the left-hand side. And they might be okay, but trying to back the base as Nico's trying to lock down anyone. Blinks forward, doesn't catch.
Oh, unfortunate.
Just about. That could have been game-ending right there. But now
100% calculated.
Finally pushes up. Yeah, totally calculated back timer there. And now we begin to set up for this mid lane siege again from Archies. They're all pushed up. There's Ragnarok lurking in the jungle in this right-hand side, maybe looking for another split push opportunity. This Phoenix goes down so fast to the shots from Davros. Is not quite fallen just yet, but dashing forward to the Grand Joust, this Panda Zap gets a lot of damage out, will then retreat back to join the rest of their team. Fire minions though have reached the Titan. This Titan gonna fall really, really low. So Wowie has to go all the way back to defend it, but Archies have retreated. They've opted to send a lot of members back to base, so still only the 1 Phoenix down for Team Britain. They can clear up these left side fire minions, and the Titan will begin to heal again. Archies cannot finish this game off.
Yeah, and it's so weird because I think we both noted that Archies, when they had the opportunity, once they got the first mid Phoenix, they could have taken or at least pressured that Phoenix, and we said no, they're taking a patient approach and they're going to win this the right way. And then the last 2 sieges after that, they've completely thrown the patience out the window, and they're just like, oh, let's see if we just send 4 members in here and see what happens. They're not really playing to their advantages of splitting up these waves. So, you look at this map and you favor Archies, but then again, you know their ability to siege is a little bit wonky at the minute. So I could see this going either way.
Well, one member has to stay to defend this left side. Of the rest of the fire minions come on down. I'm not sure Team Britain even really need to defend this, but they are grouped up. And there's Nico's finding an angle onto Wooey, who uses the purification beads, but it stops them going through the Riptide, and Seagull will punish that move with a dueling dragons. And now Fire Giant has spawned. But again, like I said, Team Britain really don't have to stay here and defend it. They've siege defense pretty well so far. So even if Archies do get enhanced Fire Giant, I don't think it's the end of the world. But they need to pay attention to these left side fire minions. If that Phoenix falls down again, it's going to be such a hard defense. But they're going to opt for the defense anyway. And Ragnarok finds an angle onto Rosie, catches this Baba Yaga, doesn't manage to finish them off as they do get into the home sweet home. But now Nikos has all the time in the world to play with this. Baba Yaga will shred down their health bar. The blast off will clear some distance. Can Rosie escape? For the moment they can, and Nikos can't finish off the kill. So that's a small win for Team Britain, but the left side Phoenix might fall down. Nikos falls, but so does East. Both solo laners off the map as this left side Phoenix pressured by fire minions. Rosie retreats all the way over to try to clear it. I think they'll manage it, and Team Britain somehow put up a defense, but it only stalls as the enhanced fire giant will be taken by the 3 remaining members of Archies, who are, by the way, also taking some Titan damage themselves.
Yeah, it's super unfortunate from Nikos there. He was so focused on charging down the Baba Yaga. If he actually turned around, there was a 20 HP emoji right behind him, but he just didn't see it in time. And then she got her heal off, and it just didn't go his way, and he got picked off. So they did enough to stop the game from ending. But as we saw there, the FG eventually goes over to Archies, who are going to get their Phoenix back up. They're not too worried about that Titan damage. But again, if you're Team Britain, you've got both Phoenixes back up now. Titan is nearly at 100%. So I mean, I think this is our 3rd time seeing this game state. So we'll see if Archies can pull this off again. I really think they need to do something with this Loki. They got the split push off last time, but they just didn't coordinate it exactly when they dove the Phoenix on the other side of the map. So if they can clean that bit up, I don't think Team Britain has much of a chance. They're relying on mistakes here.
Well, mistakes have been the crux of this Archies lineup. They've been almost making the perfect play happen, but it's just been falling apart at the very last moment. You're extending a touch too much for some kills, not being happy with just sending someone back to base, and taking the slow approach again as they go for the Primal Fury, as in the right-hand side of the map, Ragnarok actually this time split pushing. I imagine they will wait for this Loki to arrive at this right side Phoenix. But it looks like Team Britain not quite sure where the aggression's coming from. They've spread all across all 3 Phoenixes to keep vision available. They will now spot that there are 4 members on this left-hand side. So who will they send to defend against Ragnarok? Nobody, it seems, because Ragnarok's actually back to base and will take their sweet time rocking back up to this siege. But on the left-hand side, as we've mentioned, 4 members ready and waiting to shred down this already half-health Phoenix. But Team Britain, positioned correctly, will be happy to wait this one out. And Archie's not stepping up just yet. They are still waiting for Ragnarok to arrive. Of course, only have Fire Giant on 3 members. And a pause as we wait for this big moment. Yeah, a bit of a tactical pause here. That's right. This hasn't gone well so far. How do we sort it out? But instead of listening into the comms, we don't have that option. I'm going to ask Panda. Panda, what do you think Archies do this time to lock down this win?
I mean, I've just noticed, and I think it's pretty strange. When they got the EFG, they had that trebuchet still waiting in right lane, and just either chose to or forgot to send it down. And if they'd sent it down back then, that would have been its own split pushing two in its own right. Loki could have stayed in mid. You could have waited for the trebuchet, and you could have had all 3 Phoenixes under pressure. But for some reason, even when Loki backed as well, they wanted to keep the trebuchet there, or it just wasn't on their mind. So I feel like that could have really helped.
Yeah, that would have been helpful.
But other than that, they just need to be looking at that Loki saying, okay, we need to time our split push with you. And if they can pull that off, it looks like it could be pretty good. But we're back into the game here. Kumakarna stepping up, going to be tanking damage from this Phoenix. Baba Yaga, gets a big damage onto the ADC there. Home Sweet Home coming out, going to be using that as a zoning tool. But all Team Archies are going to get out fine from the ultimate out of the mid laner there, Rosie.
I am shocked to see a 46-minute siege get a little bit of a poke and then just retreat all the way. It's a full-on retreat. They are now hanging back just a touch and looks like they will be re-engaging. But the first test has been passed by Team Britain. They're quite happy with how that defense went down. It's time for round 2, as it's only the 4 members still, because Ragnarok invading a speed buff. Not quite the priority right now, but junglers will do as junglers must do. But the mid lane Phoenix takes some pressure from minions. Right lane Phoenix takes some pressure from Loki. It's very low health, but not quite down just yet. This left side siege is not going well for Archies, so they need Ragnarok to pull off a bit of magic, as Ragnarok dancing between both side lanes. But, you know, it doesn't seem to be a problem for East. East is managing to hold off this Loki pressure. Rosie takes a ton of poke early on. This left side Phoenix, half health, will surely be falling down to just a couple of shots as Frostbite blinking forward. Rosie now, Purification beats out, but Davros on the retreat means they can't finish off this Phoenix yet again. But Petrification is not on the mark as Nikos low health has to retreat again. And it looks like Team Britain have managed to hold for like the 5th consecutive time and are pulling off this defense more and more as now they give chase to Frostbite pushing further forward. They still need to watch out for Ragnarok on this Loki, and Pandazep has spotted them out. The Loki will not push any further forward. The siege has been deflected yet again, and the enhanced fire giant buff is about to despawn from the 3 remaining members. Panda, Archies just can't break this base.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's the first time I've seen that was less reliant on Archie's mistake, and it just looked like they were so shaken by their last 3 attempts at doing this that they did a bit of PTSD. But it looks like Ragnarok's going to get the solo kill onto Lancelot in the right hand lane, and that might be exactly what they need. There's a bit of heroism there from Loki. He's going to be making this a 4v5, and he's for sure going to be getting the right-hand Phoenix. Left-hand Phoenix also down. Looks like Team Britain is just going to try force a fight here because they don't fancy their chances defending this last Phoenix. But now Loki going to come in on the right-hand side. Kumbhakarna very low. But Archies are just going to pull off, wait for what I assume is going to be their 5th EFG, and see if they can maybe bait Team Britain into stepping up here. But we've got 2 Phoenixes down, left and right. But again, still nothing concrete.
Yeah, Team Britain stepped up at just the worst moment. They tried to make an aggressive play onto Ragnarok. At the same time, Archies sneak into the left side Phoenix and burn it down, which then leaves the right side Phoenix open to be burnt down. So while the defense was fantastic from Team Britain, what came afterwards was just a little bit of uncertainty. They step up when maybe they didn't need to, and they leave the back door wide open, and Archies fully punish them for it. Now this enhanced fire giant will get started up by Archies, and Team Britain cannot contest it this time. I don't know how to say it this time. The Phoenix defense has been fantastic, but it's now gone. They don't have the option of defending at the Phoenixes. They will have to defend at the Titan. And Panda, is a Titan defense even possible at this stage?
Yeah, I mean, I'd like to. If Archies gets into the throne room, I feel like there's not a whole lot you can do. I mean, the Baba, if they can get a good Rivers Rebuke off, or maybe a Petrify, but you know, characters now they're at over 130k here. Everyone's going to be having 3k pots, 500 pots. Like this Titan's going to be butter. So I'd like to see Team Britain. I feel like their option here is to just meet them out in the middle of the lane, flash heads, and see what happens. Because if this fight gets into the throne room, I feel like the Titan just goes down, even from all the residual abilities being thrown around. Ragnarok again trying to look for a little pick there, but Rivers Rebuke goes up. It's not going to trap anyone out here, but it's going to delay this by about 10 seconds. Loki's still being a pain in the side. The Trebuchet finally comes down at the right moment. So this is looking very dicey for Team Britain. We're going to see half health on this mid Phoenix. Oh, and it looks like Rosie gets caught out with the King Arthur stun, and he's going to be taken out.
Nice
Wowie as well.
Really alive, and they will fall down there. And Nikos with a double kill in this late stage might pay for it, but will not due to the extra protections from that enhanced fire giant. Ragnarok will pick up Pandazep as this Titan finally will fall down. 51 minutes it took Archies, who had a commanding lead coming into the 30-minute mark. They make a bit of a meal of it, but they do finally take down this Titan. And it was a great defense from Team Britain, who've got to feel a lot better about that game coming into game number 2 now. But if you're Archies, do you feel good that you finally got that one over the line?
I'm gonna be honest. I don't know who takes the mental hit harder there. I mean, obviously Archers have the 1-0 on the top right hand of the screen, so you're feeling good about that. That was just a slug, and at any point really we saw there Team Brit like that was on a seesaw there. Any one of those plays could have went either way. So I feel like if you're in Team Britain's camp, I'd just be saying to everyone, look, okay, that didn't go our way, but we were very close. Yeah. Started the game, but after that, the fights they just kept getting picked off. So I think if I'm Team Britain, I'm saying let's just tighten up our gameplay in the middle of the lane because their late game fights defense seem to be pretty good. And Archies might be a little bit worried there that took as much effort as it did. So hopefully we'll be getting an equal game here for game number 2.
Well, of course, we have a very extended game number 1, so we will be heading to a short break. But please do not go anywhere, because what has been a fantastic defense from Team Britain maybe will turn into a fantastic attack in this next game. You never really know when the teams are quite so equal as this. But we will be right back. Please do not go anywhere.
My ego can only bruise. It's nothing that I can't take. It's better than being numb, waiting for sleep to come, so I can dream about change. Gotta let it go. Let it go. Gotta let it go.
And welcome back, everybody, to Galeria's Smite League. We are, of course, bringing you Archies versus Team Britain. It is currently 1-0 in favor of Archies, but Panda, they made that one quite a bit more difficult than it needed to be.
Yeah, they definitely were juggling that game around. So hopefully we can either see Team Britain tighten up ship and put up a better fight there in the mid game, or maybe Archie's is looking to learn from their mistakes from game one and get this tidy 2-0.
Well, of course, we did see plenty of good defense from Team Britain, but unfortunately, you can't win a game with just a good defense, especially if you can't convert it all the way into a win on the other side of the map. So we'll have to see something a bit different in this sort of mid-game stage where, you know, we saw some big team fights from Archies coming through and really turning the game on its head. But do you think Team Britain have to change much to put themselves in this game, or was it just, you know, sort of luck of the draw that time?
Well, see, I think Team Britain just got a bit unfortunate in the fact that basically they were pretty much coming out even on all fights, but falling shortly. But that was because they just such a monumental gold differential. So if they can kind of tidy up it and be getting into these late game stages with a bit more gold in their pockets, I feel like I kind of fancy them. We've actually got bans this time. Archie's elected to get rid of that Hugh Wong, so they've had their fun with it and it's gone. Loki, no surprise there. That's also going to be taken away. Kefri, never want to see that if you're the enemy. Such an annoying god to deal with. So they're going to be going for that with Team Archie to see how Team Britain responds. There's not the three execute gods aren't really too high in the meta at the minute, which is actually really good for Kefri. I mean, you don't feel too happy if you've got an Ao Kong or a Thanatos in the jungle, and Achilles has kind of been struggling in the solo lane, so Kefri's feeling really good right now.
Yeah, of course, it's always nice to just pick up a Kefri. You can put it into any draft, and it's always a decent choice. Interestingly, Lancelot's still on the table, and really didn't have the greatest showing last time out. You know, we saw it picked up, and you know, it was okay towards the end of the game, but early on did get picked off a couple of times. I think actually fell for first blood, but a god that is always reliable and something you can always rely on to have a decent game is King Arthur in the solo lane, and this time it will be Team Britain slamming that there, and can't really argue with a King Arthur, can you, Panda?
No, East has had enough getting slapped about by that King Arthur, so he's going to try show Nikos exactly what it feels like. But I feel like this is pretty much one of the only gods that does well into King Arthur, and other big lane bullies Cuchulainn. So really like this from Nikos, so he should be able to kind of go toe to toe with this King Arthur. It could be quite a scrappy lane. So I'd like to see maybe some of the jungle down there, because transformations is going to be really good character potential. And then again, Discordia and Kefri are just two very like kind of glove fits all kind of gods. So we're kind of still waiting to see exactly what Archie's drafts want to do. And Team Britain, they've got this Nemesis, which I actually really like at the minute, especially into Discordia. She's not going to have much to do to get away from Nemesis if she's missing her route. So yeah, for the first 6 gods here, I'm feeling Team Britain a little bit.
Yeah, really strong draft from both sides. Interestingly, that Team Britain opted for the Nemesis instead of the slightly more popular at the moment Daji, but they do opt to ban that away to keep it completely out of the hands of Archies. Meanwhile, Archies focusing their bans onto the supports, but it doesn't matter because Team Britain opt to slam down the Terra anyway. And Terra's a god we haven't seen too much of lately, but with the recent buff to Fey Blessed Hoops, I think Terra's really being slept on. You know, you can provide a lot of healing and burst shielding for your whole team, so definitely a very good pickup. And it's always tough when you're fighting against a team that has some sustain when you have none for yourself.
Yeah, I feel if the Terra can play well, I feel like the Terra is going to do a lot. I think she's actually quite a hard god to kind of pick and choose if you're going for the aggressive or the peel route. Especially with how you're going to get the use on those ulti, hitting on your team, hitting on the enemy. Can you do both? That's going to be big for her. And then we're going to see the Cleo and the Churn. So it's going to be some good global presence here, especially with how well Davros did. I really like that. Thoth being hovered as well. Pretty good matchup into the Discordia, but overall not a very safe God if you can catch out that dash, but when I look over at Archies, there's not too much that's going to be able to follow that, bar maybe the Cleo dash. But she's not going to have any CC immunity to stop that route, so unless she's got beads up, I feel like they're going to have a tough time picking out South. But they've gone for the Hades. I love the Hades. I just love Hades in general because it's such a funny. This is either going to blow everyone out of the water, or we're about to see someone go 0-13. So I'm very excited to see how that goes.
I was just about to say that Toth does really well into the enemy draft. You know, there's no walls on their side. They don't have a ton of lockdown. Of course, Cleaner, very good chase potential, but it doesn't really have any CC in the kit. You know, you don't lock a guard down with a Cleaner. So I actually think Toth would have been a fantastic pick, but instead, Team Britain opting to style on us. I imagine this will be Rosie picking it up for the middle lane. I'd be surprised to see King Arthur make their way to mid lane, but you know, stranger things have happened for sure. But I expect that will be how we see it. But now, Panda, we have both drafts finalized up, and if you imagine this is a set of games with players you've never seen before, which draft would you say will be the winning draft?
Look, it's very tough. I feel like Team Britain's draft could go really well, but I feel like the threshold to execute that is pretty high, and obviously, as we saw, their last game didn't go the way they wanted. So I think they're going to be I favor their draft in the sense of like they're going to go out in a blaze of glory, or it's going to be a little candle going out. Whereas Archies have kind of gone the safe route, which pretty much a lot of their picks. I mean, Chernobog very safe, Cleo very safe, Discordia very safe. Cucullin's just going to be doing Cucullin things, transforming, running in, and assumingly he's going to be getting a lot of these Kefri ults if need be when he's diving. So I think Archies has got more well-rounded, safe draft, but there's a few loose cannons in Team Britain that could maybe come out firing.
Yeah, well, I think Archies have very good aggressive potential, you know, especially with this Kefri pick. If they decide they want to just rock on up and full on commit to dive someone, that'll definitely work out. You know, that's what Kefri does best, right? You just sort of pick a target, say absolutely go hell for leather under the tower for them, and that Scarab's Blessing will keep you alive and bring you back to the fight. But you know, again, we're seeing both teams go for the same mid-speed start. It's just the popular way forward at the moment. But is there either one of these teams that you would say should be having the higher amounts of pressure early on?
I mean, look, Hades is going to be super high pressure in the fact that he's going to be full clearing waves pretty much wave one. But I'm actually kind of going to go on and back on what I said. And now that I've fully gone through it, I actually hate the Hades into this because who's he going to be grabbing with his ult? They can all get out. They've all got some form of, like, Cleo's never getting caught by that. Cullen's never getting caught by that. Discordia's got a CC immunity and a mini dash. So, yeah, the South would have been nice. Yeah, and then there's a Kefri if that goes wrong anyway. So, yeah, I'd love to know the thought process behind the Hades, but maybe, you know, sometimes if you're just feeling a god, you've got to pick it. That's just how it is. Logic doesn't apply. You're just in your bag on one god. So let's see if this Hades can do something. And it looks like the cringe gang could be coming out here from Panda's up, but you never really want to be walking into a fully enraged Cucullin. But he gets the ward down, so Panda's up going to be told to just go elsewhere.
Perfectly placed ward.
Nope,
just right on
he's
the
gone. He's blinked in anyway, as I can see
never
there.
mind.
And yeah, that went exactly as we thought. So.
Yeah, I mean that's why you pick King Arthur and Cucullin, right? These gods do not struggle at any stage, and just, you know, can handle a cringe gank, can handle a late game gank. You know, they just don't really mind. But Frostbite again on this Kefri taking a lot of early pressure. Of course, Terra and Hu Yi do exert quite a lot of pressure early on, and Demise getting aggressive in the face of the enemy support. Diving
really
forward with
low.
the dive bomb is Wooey. Doesn't have the ricochet available though, and that will force out the meditation from Frostbite coming through. And that's an interesting pickup there, Panda. Would you say that meditation on Kefri is a better choice over the slightly more popular Magic Shell?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'm pretty sure we saw Frostbite go med last game as well, so maybe they just think it's good. I mean, it is going to help for these scrappy duo lanes. If you're going to want to keep healing, it's probably more so than Shell because you're going to be getting that mana sustain as well. But especially, I mean, they've got Nemesis and a Hu Yi, so the Shell would have been nice for those basic attack gods. But I guess obviously it's just saved his life there, so can't too much complain. But yeah, we'll see what this meditation does late game.
Yeah, we'll keep an eye on it. We're zooming through the game at the moment. Some massively.
Just in Ragnarok's been banned from the league for hacks.
Ragnarok just deciding to hit the afterburners for a moment there on this cleaner, but we will get that all sorted out. And yeah, it's a speed buff, you know. It's that boosted speed buff just sometimes has a bit of an effect on people. But you know, we come back to our reality that we would expect, and nothing too crazy going on early on. I think we'd already seen a couple of kills in the previous game, but this time both teams opt to hold off. And as I say that, Frostbite will fall down. I'm not even sure who got the kill there, but it looks like it went the way of Wooey on this Hu Yi. So they do manage to get ahead in this dual lane. We said that Frostbite was sort of skirting with death a little bit, getting low health. And ended up falling just a bit too low there, and Khepri, not the best of gods for these early stages. You know, they definitely don't do well in long exchanges and scraps, but we are having some slight technical issues here, everyone. So we're going to go to a quick break as we get all of these things sorted. So please bear with us as we will be right back to bring you this hopefully very action-packed game. And we are back in business, everybody. Sorry about that little technical problem, but we are coming right back into this duo side of the map as Frostbite gets slammed down with a Crushing Earth already, and the damage coming through from the duo lane of Team Britain, who will pick up first blood in this game. And now it's a slightly later first blood this time, Panda, but Team Britain off to a good start.
What we said we wanted to see when there's a more tighter early game and into mid game, so it's good that you can see this coming out of their duo lane straight away, especially when we spoke about last game, their duo lane was actually struggling. So they've kind of completely flipped that. It's not that's especially easier in the solo lane. The pressure's actually quite even all around. Team Britain looking it's only 3 minutes, but they're looking a lot better than last time.
Yeah, of course, that's what happens when, Archies are forced into picking a different style of hunter. Chernobog, safe, as you mentioned in the picks and bans phase, but certainly doesn't put out the same amount of pressure that Terra and Hu Yi can. So it's a very different mindset you have to put yourselves in for this early duel lane, and Demise getting really aggressive again, this time onto Davros, but Rosie on this Hades, low health, death from below, won't get them safe just yet. Goes in to the ultimate, but it's not going to be enough. Ragnarok will tear the veil and counteract that first blood with a kill of their own. I feel like we saw that recently in game number 1. As soon as first blood goes down, the other team claps back immediately.
Yeah, they've decided to swap roles here, and Ragnarok was pretty much key into the success. Actually, I would almost say completely the success of Archie's early game. Actually, kept getting quite low here. I feel like he's going to fall. Oh, great body blocks. Great body blocks. So Kefri's going to be going down twice now. Both kills going on to Wowie. So he's going to be feeling pretty good, especially if we see another scrappy type of geo lane in the mid lane where the two ADCs are running flat at each other. You're going to be pretty happy if you're Wowie. Definitely going to have the advantage. Pandazap hanging around. Don't think much is going to happen though. He's actually going to go for the invade on the red. Discord is going to know about it, but yeah, I think if I'm Pandazap, I'm getting out of here. Just get those left mids. Call it a day.
Yeah, Frostbite, of course, playing this Khepri, and Khepri's main weakness at this point in the season is just the fact that they're quite easy god to pick off. It's not easy to stay safe through these early stages. You do have some pretty decent tankiness, and of course some extra health regen style passive with those shields pulsing out, but you can run the risk of getting picked a bit too easily. Everything Khepri does is quite telegraphed and not the fastest to escape, so it looks like Team Britain in this duel lane heavily punishing that pick early on. It's helpful for them though that Ragnarok is able to get a nice pick onto Rosie, who honestly did the right thing going into that Pillar of Agony. You weren't going to get away from that tearing the veil. So handy to drop that ability, get the extra protections, but it was not enough. So, some decent combat early on, but will Team Britain be able to fight back in the rest of the lanes? They say that as Stavros forced into the ultimate and will be in a hell of a lot more trouble. They choose Rosie.
Unfortunate. Rosie misses the silence.
It doesn't quite connect, and there's the golden apple. Discord coming through doesn't connect either. So, but still, Rosie does fall down, and what turned into a quick escape for Davros ends up being a kill. But hold on, Davros now getting aggressed on yet again. Will shadow slide into the wall, but giving chase is Pandazap with that slice and dice. Takes down Davros finally, so they will be punished for their long rotation over. Will lose a lot of farm in the dual lane as well, and Team Britain coming off to actually a great start.
Yeah, I got a bit worried there. That was a bit sloppy with the fact that the Chernobog gets low over in the left lane, so that gets hurt going down. But Pandazap did very well there. There's actually really good communication between Demise and Pandazap. You could see they timed it perfectly with the route from the Terra, and then Nemesis just stood outside Chernobog's shadow and was like, "Sorry, buddy, the only way you're going is towards our tower, and you've got 20 HP." So yeah, it was good for them to rescue that, but yeah, we're 2-3 now, but game state looks pretty much even, except we've got this 2-level lead down in the duo lane. So if they can hold on to that, Team Britain's doing quite well compared to last game.
Demise, of course, still equal in level to the opposing hunter. That cannot feel good for the Archies ADC player, as Demise now able to put some pressure on this purple buff, putting a lot of pressure onto Davros specifically, in fact, and wow, he makes the rotation over. puts the mark onto Frostbite. This purple buff being heavily contested, and Team Britain will take it away. But can they take any more? Because Frostbite has committed themselves quite far forward. There's a really nice crushing out there, and a body block again onto the Sunbreaker. Puts the Scarab's Blessing in place, but will just about survive. Will Frostbite, and instead Davros puts a lot of pressure onto Demise. But now Demise on the retreat. Davros goes up into the sky in that living nightmare. Can't decide exactly who they want to land on. They opt to land in place instead on the retreat from WoW, who's still firing off shots like it's nobody's business, and somehow, Panda, nobody falls down in that engagement.
That is just heartbreaking on just so many levels. Oh, here we go. Looks like they're going to team this up with Seagull. Mid lane coming in. Oh, and there we go. Picks up Demise. Slightly
as well. Oh, the stun! Oh, the crazy ricochet. Gold Devil at Discord will connect onto Owie, but there's Rosie coming in. The Pillar of Agony will not be able to be escaped by Frostbite. Seagull burns the Purification Bead, but slamming down, expunging those souls will be Rosie on the big rotation over. Ragnarok finally on the scene. That's the retreat, though, because Pandas have more than willing to take this fight. Death from below from Rosie to put even more pressure onto the enemy jungler, and crazy back and forth fight, but Team Britain still come out on top.
Yeah, so we just saw that big delayed fight in Geo lane gets both mid laners to come around, and they both see some success. I'm glad I said that I didn't doubt this Hades at all, and it does very well in comparison there. So again, it feels like what's happening here is Archies seem to have like a strike of brilliance, and then Team Britain kind of pick up all the pieces and save what's gone wrong. So if they can keep doing that, that's exactly what they want to do coming into. We're reaching the 9-minute mark here, so getting slightly into the mid game here, and they've done very well for the start of this game.
And just like that, the purple buff on this left-hand side is respawning on the side of Archies, and yet again, Demise over here, but this time backed up by Rosie. Put a lot of damage onto this purple buff. Coming on for the steal is Frostbite. Will they manage to take it away, though? It doesn't look like they will be able to. So Team Britain get another small engagement win just there. In the solo lane, there's been almost no action whatsoever, as the junglers have been elsewhere on the map, giving both this King Arthur and Cucullin a lot of freedom to farm. But Frostbite on this Khepri already falling down 3 times. Absolutely cannot feel good.
I mean, I've just only noticed. I mean, Davros has just ticked over to 8, but there's effectively a 4-level lead 10 minutes into this game in the Geo lane. So he's 4-0. Gold doesn't matter. The XP and everyone else doesn't matter. We've got a huge fight breaking out in mid lane. Terra hits Ragnarok with the ult, and 4 of his teammates. Rosie again with the Pillar of Agony. And it looks like it's going to be a 1-0.
Yeah, really clean fight there, and a lot of ultimates expended from both sides, but at the end of it, Team Britain again come out on top. This time the solo laners come over, because they see all this action going on. They decide, we're bored over here, we want to join in, but Rosie gets caught by the Abduct. A lot of damage onto this Hades, but no mana will mean that Hades will just have to retreat. But it's definitely got to be scary for Archies if you see this big level lead that you were talking about from Wui on 2. Davros here, it's not a comfortable spot when your hunter is so low down, because it just means that at any point they can be soloed down, and Huyi sort of does that better than anyone on the map right now. You put them in a 1v1 situation, and I'm giving it to Wui.
Yeah, this Huyi's very scary. I mean, I don't even think if Nemesis is coming over, there's going to be much that, if this Cleo comes over, there's going to be much that she's going to be able to do. I think they're okay, stay at your tower, farm up, and see if they can get pressure somewhere else. I mean, if I'm Archies, I'd probably be looking to see if we can pick off this Hades a few more times. Try get a lead in mid. But as you can see, they're looking. Yeah, and the Pyromancer tips over there too. Oh, actually, no, sorry. Good. There's another purple fight coming out here, and again, Frostbite's going to take this over into the grey screen there. 0-4 is the Kefri, pretty much all from defending this purple buff, and that's going to negate the Pyro. Britain with the Gold Fury.
Well, Wu Yi over on this left-hand side, 5-0 at the moment. Level 13 will put out a lot of damage onto this Gold Fury. As you mentioned, Archies cannot contest it. There is nothing they can do to stop it. We'll leave an Oracle there, though, behind. PandaZap, come on. You got to be efficient in your farming, despite having a decent lead. But, you know, it looks like Archie's trying to make an impact on the map. Of course, did manage to get through that Pyromancer, sort of snuck that one away. And it's what you have to be doing, right? If the fights aren't going your way, you have to find opportunities elsewhere on the map. And the mid lane again, Ragnarok under some pressure from PandaZap means that his Nemesis actually has to retreat. You can't get too overconfident. A really big crushing earth there from Demise, playing this Terra fantastically. But Rosie straight into that Pillar of Agony, taking a lot of damage in the process, but is sustaining up through it and will actually get out alive until Nikos will get over and slam down that mid laner. Will fall for the process though, which is a really big pick for Team Britain, almost the only member to not fall down. In fact, it was the only member to not fall down for Archie, so they finally cleaned up that last little pick off the map. And Team Britain, it's a pretty even trade, but Rosie already fallen down multiple times means that Nikos is just the juicier target there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm actually quite impressed. I'm seeing a brawlers here, but you've got a Brandcross Hades with Terra ult in the ult and 2 people in the ult, and they still managed to DPS the Hades down. So that's actually pretty impressive coordination of damage there from Team Archies. The minute I saw that Hades ult go up and the Terra ult go off, I thought for sure she was getting out of there. So yeah, that's another good pick, but answered back again. And yeah, there's still this still this mighty 4-level lead in the duo lane. If I'm Team Britain, if I'm Team Archies, I don't know if we want to try put a bit of dampener on this, but then you also risk the option of everyone just runs in, tries to kill, and oh, we might get to see a kill here onto Terra. Oh, Golden Apple bounces off, showing Hoi how the ricochet is done, and gets demise.
Simple geometry there coming out from Seagull. Finds the extremely calculated bounce onto Demise, which is a nice pick to have, actually, because Demise on this Terra had sort of been running riot, has actually now fallen down in their level lead, is a level behind their opposing support, but he's taking some shots from Nikos. Will go up into the Excalibur's Wrath, but that buys time for Ragnarok to lurk through the wall. He's low health, taking a ton of damage from this 3-man rotation, but Seagull falls down in the process, so it is a 1-for-1 trade overall, but Archie's finally starting to get some picks on the board.
Yeah, I mean, look, I like the pick over in the right lane, but the Pyromancer has been done, and they're not getting a whole lot off of it if you're just going to leave Discordia on an island to get picked. So, kind of both they've lost the T1 and mid now. So, I mean, it's good to see them getting active and getting kills. Using your mid laner and your mid tower, it's not you're not feeling great about it. And then we've got Demise over here, just gets the cup actually. So that's really good. Yeah, it looks like we've kind of just decided to. Everyone's playing a bit safer now. Nemesis can be... Oh, actually, Cleo onto the Nemesis. Doesn't hit the Banshees. Unfortunate.
Really, really close there. PandaZap, has had a great start. Actually, looking at it there, 4-0 on this Nemesis to the 2-1 cleaner. However, Ragnarok actually has a level lead, has been farming that much more effectively, has been getting some more key kills possibly, and it certainly means that Team Britain, aren't really as ahead as it maybe feels like they should be, but kills not quite having the value they have had in the past means that despite a 4-kill lead, it doesn't put Archies in too much danger. But Davros now on the rotation through. Rosie has to burn the purification, because Team Britain actually on the retreat at the moment, having to hide away, and what was a game that was going quite swimmingly for Team Britain has now started to level out.
Yeah, so they've tried to go for the invade, but it's not going the way they've gone. I mean, we've still got the same level deficit in duo. I think it's more of a case that even though the game looks even kind of stats wise, it's all in 2 or 3 players on each team, and then you've just got some players really, really lagging behind and some players really, really ahead, and it's all balanced out. Oh, he's going to be going aggressive here on Davros. He's going to go straight up into that ult. Not having any of that. I'm going to go right over to the safety of the Kukulkan, but East actually hits the King Arthur ult, and he's going to go into the wall. Now there's going to be 4 here over looking at East. The 5th player coming in, Kefri just getting slowed out there, and Davros down.
Wow.
East has just gone buck wild there. Rosie going to be catching 2 in the ult. Oh, and the Kefriel goes on the wrong player. I'm assuming Frostbite meant to go ult himself, but it actually hits Cuchulainn, which he really didn't need it. And the rest of Team Britain's actually really quite low. So that's a although Archies have come out with 2 players down. Oh, Nikos comes in the back and gets Rosie, and is just going to be keeping Pandazap here, waiting for the rest of the team. Pandazap needs to just get out of here. It's going to get collapsed on by 3 players, and Cleo comes out of the wall. Oh, does she get out? Should be a barbed spear here coming from Cuchulainn. No, gets out. Well done from Pandazap there. But the Go Fury going to go down with all this pressure and all the resources from Archies in the right-hand side.
Meanwhile, on the left-hand side of the map, of course, Oni Fury goes down after forcing Davros into that living nightmare to eventually die. They end up getting 2 towers, the tier 1 and tier 2, and the Oni Fury. So it will be traded out with a Pyromancer, but Team Britain probably make a relatively decent gold gain after that whole process is all said and done. Now, it's helped out by those couple of extra picks that Nikos was able to find there. But, you know, Team Britain this time around have been having a much stronger team fight presence, but also farming the map much better, and the macro play so far has been fantastic.
Yeah, I mean, this is, you know, it's not as far apart fight wise as it was last game, but we're seeing Team Britain pretty much take Team Archie's spot from the last game. But objectives are now being traded a bit more back and forth, so the gold lead's not going to be too bad as we reach 20 minutes. Scorp going down as well, but we've got these One waves coming down, so we're hoping to see maybe if Team Britain can use the pressure from any of these.
So we go under a lot of pressure, already burned the purification beads, means they don't have a lot less, but there's a Scarab's Blessing and Pandazap caught on the tower in that abduct, means they will have to retreat, but Frostbite takes a ton of damage and will fall down again on this Capri. Meanwhile, Ragnarok cannot escape as Wooey gets the double kill. This Hu Yi, completely unstoppable. Seagull in the cloak does not matter. East finds the shot through the invisibility and will end up picking another kill for Team Britain, who despite seeing that Davros is all the way on the left-hand side, will now be making their eyes onto this Fire Giant.
Yeah, so we can also see as well, Davros has decided, okay, I'm just going to be picking up towers. I think Team Archies has decided they're just going to be giving up this FG, 3 members down. They don't want to show face. So that's going to be a very big swing for Team Britain. As well, they've got this Trebuchet in the right lane, so maybe if they decide to stay, they can push to this T2 in right lane, but it looks like their health bars are a little bit too low. Actually, no, I'm saying that it looks like they are going to try work with this Trebuchet. Only Nico's going to be around to show face, but we've got 3 members chasing now. I don't think Nikos realizes, especially if Woe's going to be doing a lot of damage here. Comes in with the bounce. Looks like Nikos is going to get out of this. I don't like the chase, and now the rest of Team Archies has shown up. Yeah, they need to get out of here. I think they just write this off. Unless, well, actually, their health bars are still looking okay. Trebuchet chipping away at this tower.
Trebuchet will find a couple of shots.
Chernobog comes as well. He's going to come in. Hits the root onto East. East is just going to Beyblade away. Cleo going to be coming in from the left-hand side. This looks like it's not going the way of Team Archies at all. Woey is just a DPS machine right now.
3 versus 5, of course, over here, but Wooey finding more and more shots. Demise finally falls down. Nikos chases away Wooey, who might finally fall down, but they will not, because Rosie takes down Ragnarok. East gets chased away by Nikos, but Wooey puts out more and more damage onto this Cuchulainn. Tries to find a ricochet, can't quite catch it. Nice blink from Nikos to get themselves to safety. It was an extended fight on this right-hand side. It did benefit Archies a bit, but there's Rosie falling down. Wooey picks up a kill. Pandazap picks up a kill. This is a deicide 21 minutes in. They have a big grouping on this right-hand side. They might opt to look for the Phoenix. And what was a decent fight choice for Archies, as it was a fight where they outnumbered their opponents, it slowly over time, the Fire Giant buff effects start to kick in, and it ends up with a lot of kills going the way of Team Britain, and they might well lose a Phoenix for it.
Yeah, I mean, that's exactly. They've used this duo lane lead perfectly. I mean, even with a member down, Archies just weren't able to hold up against this Hu Yi, and I think really understated from the scoreline. East was doing absolute work there as well, holding off 3 members for about 20-30 seconds, which allowed Woey to just be holding that left click button and got off a ton of damage. So yeah, we're going to see this mid Phoenix go down as well. So this is kind of spilling way out of control for your team, Archies. But we haven't seen Team Britain fully do a siege yet, bar that one, which they're missing players. So let's pray their sieging ability is a bit more cleaner than Archies. We could be seeing another half an hour slapped onto this game like last time.
Yeah, Team Britain, of course, in the driving seat fully here. They have a 9,000 gold lead, have Fire Giants still on 4 members, and the only one missing it is the support, of course. So they have the option to take an extra siege if they want to. It looks like they won't be doing that. I think they're just clearing up all of their jungle, taking whatever they need to. Of course, all tier 2 towers off the map already. Gold Fury about to spawn up too. So Team Britain have freedom of the map, freedom of all the objectives, and they'll just put themselves into such a commanding lead, you'd think it will be almost impossible for Archies to defend it. But it is only the mid lane Phoenix going down. As we mentioned, it's not the ideal Phoenix if you could pick one. It's still decent, but Team Britain certainly don't have the split potential that they had, that they were up against in the last game, I should say, with the Loki. So we'll have to see how they look to handle it. But, you know, Archie's very, very low down in gold and, you know, haven't had the best start in these team fights. But Panda, do you think that Archies have what they need to put up a decent siege defense?
When I'm looking here, the only thing I'm really seeing if a Seagull can get off a really good route, maybe catch a 3-2 members, that can also do a lot of damage. But poke wise, you've got Cleo's tearing the veil. I don't really fancy Churn all that much in a siege defense, only barring the fact maybe you could send him over to defend one side and they can ult over if need be. But I mean, you've got Hades, you've got Terra, you've got Hou Yi, you've got Nem, you've got King Arthur. All of these gods are super, super good at diving. And I'm not seeing a lot bar a Kefri ult maybe. Oh, here we go. Seagull's going to be getting picked out here. Hades ult going off. Oh, Seagull actually going to get the Kefri revive. Now this is actually turning the way of Archies, and Rosie goes down. Looks like Diva Demise might be following. And then we've got Panda Zap in the back trying to make something happen, but it looks like he's kind of mistimed that. And now he's going to be found all alone. But Wowie just comes slamming down and picks up Seagull, finish him off. Ragnarok going to get Panda Zap. This is just all over the place. People dying left, right, and center. But it looks like the Hou Yi, who's been 11-0, killing this match, has decided they've had enough and is going to clean up the rest of Team Archies, hopefully.
Ragnarok puts a lot of damage onto Wowie though, and there's Davros having to ruin the purification. East again finds the long-range shot, slamming on this King Arthur. Speaking of slamming, Wowie slams down Ragnarok, and despite the fight not starting initially very well for Team Britain, it does leave just Nikos alive, which means it's going to be tough to mount any sort of counter-aggression, and Team Britain, of course, have to refresh, have to re-engage on this Fire Giant buff, but they have the all-important Hunter, and they will have multiple members respawning, so they should be able to take this Fire Giant, not yet enhanced, of course, and that will put them in prime position for re-sieging yet again onto Archie's base.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think we've actually seen this before, Judas. This is literally playing out the exact same way as last game, except obviously in favor of Team Britain. I just have East has just been so good at these cleanups at the end, just been an absolute pain. So maybe that's a different thing. And then Wowie's just going to come out. I think Nikos has kind of stepped far too forward and he's going to get picked here. But the mantle of just Golden Apple just comes. Does enough to thwart the rest of the push there from Team Britain, but they're still happy with the position at this Fire Giant. Mid Phoenix coming back up now. We've got a 30 chain left that's going to help with the defense, but I don't know if Archies want to show face to this. I'm them. I think there is a lot of merit in just giving this up and defending at your Phoenix line, but again, we've already said their defense isn't fantastic. He's going to be going on to the ult, picking up Davros there. Terra ult going off, hits about 8 players. Rosie going to be getting a great Pillar of Agony there. Well, we're just going to be able to right-click completely on this Kefri. Gets both out of the revive. And that looks like it's going to be 4 players to none. I think they can just run down the mid lane here, and that's going to be game if Team Britain play this right. Panda Zap going to be looking to get the 5th here. Doesn't care about the Titan. Oh, but the invisibility... That's going to show off, okay, Ragnarok's going to live to fight another day, but I don't think there's anything that Cleo's going to be able to do. And I think we're going to be seeing this game going 1-1 in favor, or not in favor of, but equal there for Team Britain.
Much cleaner attack this time from Team Britain. Ragnarok eventually does fall down for the DSI. The Titan also falls in the process. Means that Archies will not be able to take the 2-0 win. And Team Britain tie this set up. And we are headed right into a game number 3. And after both of those performances back to back, Panda, I'd say you gotta say that the momentum is truly with Team Britain right now.
Yeah, it is. It's actually that's a really cleaner game than the last one we saw. So for Team Britain, we're feeling very good about that going into game 3. Archie's probably getting a bit of a shock there, even though they had this ragtag draft that we said. I mean, look, you see this 14 OE 37k damage compared to the 18k. A lot of duo lane and east as well. Have to be saying, I think I'm going to give the MVP for just all the utility he was getting.
Yeah, of course, it's never pleasant when your top pick, no matter who it is, this time it was a Khepri, but if your top pick ends up being 0-9, you can't have had a great showing that time. But Archies have turned it around in the past. This team has been relatively strong and very popular picks for some of the favorites for this league this season. So we'll have to see if they can tighten it up and bring this game back in their favor. But we will be heading to yet another break. Please do not go anywhere, of course, because this has been a back and forth set, and it'll be very, very interesting to see how these teams line up to finish off. But as I said, please do not go anywhere. We will be right back.
Back on that smart grind in my mind, rapidly declining. For this shit, we watching the gallery of Thanos. I got my best plays done, spaced out. JBL about to get chased out, yeah. JBL, more like just big L's. Couldn't even be marked as rivals, just spaced out on a different level. Ran it through the brackets like it was a walk in the park. We watching the revenge arc of the spaced out squad. It's the 5, now I think it's over in 3. Spaced out, running it down, throwing JBL around. Fuck them clowns, no chance without tear to let him jump in the backpack. They ain't about to backtrack. Toe putter, yeah. Toe putter, yeah. You'll be in a suit up pudding, yeah. Toe putter, yeah. Sources tell me that JBL a bunch of crap. Babies, don't ask me where I got it from. But I agree, sitting here with a bottle of rum, getting hammered while recording this song. Fuck man, I need to find something else to do. GSL champions, GSL champions, yeah. Alright, we packing you D, hope the stems will do you good. Try hiding in alley cause you can't go pro. Leaving the instant you can't win gems no more. Prime all you fucking rejects, hamburger stands over all of your cringe ass virgin teams. I can feel the sweat through the monitor every time you play. Go take a bath. We back on the smart grind in my mind, rapidly declining. For this shit, we watching the gallery of Thanos. I got my best plays done, spaced out. JBL about to get chased out, yeah. JBL, more like just big L's. Couldn't even be marked as rivals, just spaced out on a different level. Ran it through the brackets like it was a walk in the park. We watching the revenge arc of the spaced out squad. Toe putter, yeah. Toe putter, yeah. You'll be in a suit up pudding, yeah. Toe putter, yeah.
Well, it's been back and forth, it's been chaotic, it's been up and down, but we are in to game number 3 between Archies and Team Britain. This is Galeria's Smite League. My name is Judas Priestley, and I'm joined today by Obis Penda. Now, Penda, as we've seen, and as I've just mentioned, it's been very, very back and forth, but we've seen the Loki banned away. That is got to be a staple, having seen Ragnarok play it, but if you're to look now, before these teams manage to complete their drafts, do you have a team that you're actually going to side with to win this game?
Yes, I mean, if we base it off the 2 victories we've seen, Team Britain's was a lot cleaner. So you'd like to feel like they're kind of riding that wave and going to try convert this. But again, if Archies can kind of keep their heads together, maybe they can pull something off. But yeah, at the mid I'm feeling Team Britain.
All right.
The Heimdall ban as well is coming out. That must be a danger pick that I'm not aware of.
Yeah, definitely something that has to come through, right? If you were aware of anything that the other team might throw at you this time, be it the Loki in the jungle or even the Kabrakan, we've seen that banned in these couple of games, and I'm not exactly sure why. But maybe they know something we don't know. I do see Nikos is in the chat. We'll have to see if Nikos is ever planning on picking a Kabrakan. Maybe that's something to be kept in secret for another day. But as the bans come through, we're going to start to see these picks coming on out. Kepri banned out this time, so won't be top picked. Is there any god in particular that you would be saying should be top picked here?
I mean, for first pick, we've seen the Ho Yi do so well that I feel like maybe you want to do that. But the King Arthur again been super solid, so there's no real surprises there. And that's going to be going over to East again, who, as I said, put on a clinic of zoning last game. So excited to see him back on that. Kulgan didn't really do much for me. last game, so maybe we're going to try shape it up. Then again, Hou-Yi again. And the Lancelot, which didn't do too hot in our last game, but that was over to Panda Zap, so maybe Ragnarok can do something else with this, or perhaps it goes to Nikos, we don't know yet.
And of course, Hou-Yi this time being played by Davros instead of the 14-0 Rowie in the previous game. So definitely a worthwhile choice there to get that pick off the table, especially if your own Hunter player is happy to pick it up. But we'll, have to see how the rest of this draft comes through, because as you mentioned, Lancelot didn't have the strongest showing in game number 1. Of course, this time being played by the other team, and definitely can make a difference, and still open as to whether it's going into the solo lane or the jungle. But a pick I'm very happy to see come back up is Demise on the Terror. What an absolute force of nature they were in the previous game.
Yeah, I think I remember saying at the start of the game that Terra is kind of a do or die here. It could be played really well, but it's hard to do well. But I think Demise has shown that that's absolutely no problem. Even actually one of the smaller supports, he was still body blocking perfectly somehow. So really excited to see him back on the Terra. And Anher is just a fun 1v1 god. Kind of like Hou-Yi, so it'll be fun to see how aggressive, because these duo lane is quite aggressive, so it'll be fun to see how that goes up. And then we've got the Geb coming out here for Frostbite, so pretty solid duo lanes. I'd say the Anher is probably the one we've seen the least in the meta at the minute, so kind of be riding on that one to see how that goes. And then we've got extra bands here, the Ravana and the Daji being taken away.
Interesting that the Daji actually being banned away by Team Britain. That does mean that they suspect this Lancelot will actually be heading into the solo lane. And I can understand that choice from both sides, because I think Nikos on this solo lane has had pretty good ride in both games, despite losing the second game. That was certainly a high point of the Archies lineup, and with a second ban committed to the jungle, it seems Team Britain are more than certain that this Lancelot is heading into the solo lane. But a god that's made it all the way down the list so far is Yu Huang, who will now be picked up in this 4th spot. And that's one of the latest picks I think I've ever seen a Yu Huang come in.
Yeah, I mean, I think we saw it was Seagull on the Huang in the first game, wasn't it? And
yes.
he was putting on an absolute clinic. So the fact he's getting that 4th pick is a bit criminal from Team Britain, but they've decided they're okay with it. Bakazura being hovered as well, and then I think as you're right in saying that this Lancelot's going to the solo lane, because I've kind of seen from Ragnarok he likes these kind of heavy carry style gods. I mean, the other team banning Kali as well. Maybe that's what he's known for. So I can't see Lancelot filling that same kind of role that he likes. And we switched from Bakazur to Pele. The South does come out. Rosie's decided, okay, Hades is getting put away, and they're going to go for the South this time. Going to be difficult into the Lancelot, but the rest of the team, I think the South will do okay. The Humbats, it's a final pick for Team Britain.
Yeah, I think the Toth we considered in the previous game that would have been a good pick, as they didn't have a lot to deal with it. Hades did fine, though. I was more than impressed with how that Hades mid went off. Of course, fell a couple of times early on, but as we got to the late game stages, Archies just weren't able to deal with it. But when you have a pick like that, right, this pick that no one else is really playing, and you decide to slot it in, you kind of have to be wary of playing it multiple times, right? Because the team will have seen it now. They won't be caught off guard and will not be so surprised by it. So it's definitely a good choice to move away from that type of pick, and the Toth pick I think is very good here, because still Archie's draft has no sets of walls or any real lockdown. It's a bit better than it was in the previous game, but I think Toth can stand up to Yu Huang pretty well. But Bellona being locked up should, I believe, Panda, push this Lancelot into the jungle.
Yeah, so I think Ragnarok actually has chosen to go for this in the jungle. And now that we have the South, I'm actually fine with the Lancelot being in the jungle, because that is pretty much their only tool lockdown-wise. I mean, they've got the Cripple Field great into South. He's hopefully going to be able to chase down this South, because none of the other characters, bar maybe a Bellona ult, is going to be able to catch them there. So we're into the game now, and let's see what they can do.
Yeah. we'll keep an eye on how these two teams do face up. This is, of course, Team Britain versus Archies in the Glorious Smite League Upper Division, tied 1-1, but Team Britain have the momentum at this stage. They've had a strong showing game 1 despite losing, a very strong showing game number 2, but Archies might be able to pull it out of the bag and take this last game as we get into it. So now, here we find ourselves standing at this jungle camp set. Again, everybody going for the same starts they've been going for. This is the tried and tested start now. It seems most popular all across the board. But, you know, we definitely both agree, Panda, that Team Britain have looked the stronger of the two teams throughout this set. But do Archies have what they need this time to take a similar game to game number 1 where they fight in the mid game and come out ahead?
Yeah, well, we've seen a lot of the games being decided over in the duo lane. So I'd kind of like to see a focus, or we'll probably see a focus from both teams in this duo lane. But I also think there is the chance, if Archies want to get a bit of an advantage here, is if they can look for this Thoth early with the Lancelot. Maybe they can get a mid there in mid lane. So yeah, I think a lot of it's still going to come down to this duo lane. As you can see already on the left-hand side there, they are already scrapping, already trying to see if they can get this first blood. So, oh, and it looks like Archie's is going to roll over to 2 first. Not sure they're going to be able to get the kill, but good pressure here from the red team.
Yeah, Geb, not the support you would really associate with early pressure, but, you know, you can still play it in that sort of style. There's a lot of aggression in the mid lane as well from Team Britain. Pandazap stepping up into this Lancelot, which is interesting from a Hunbat's perspective. You know, Hunbat's one of those gods that really doesn't shine until they have that ultimate ability. Of course, you know, every god loves to have their ultimate ability online, but Hunbat's in particular, right? Possibly the best ultimate in the game, a lot of people would say. So it's definitely a very, very high pressure point for the side of Team Britain to exploit. But, you know, you can still play it in this sort of style because Hunbat's does have quite high base damage numbers, and that overhead slam, of course, does tons and tons of damage at all stages. But still, more and more scrapping in the duo lane, and Archie's duo lane this time getting the better of it.
Yeah, so it looks like duo pressure is going to be going over to Archies, which, you know, as we've seen, is very important for these teams. And then we're going to see in mid lane, they've just traded out the mid camps. Oh, I think, no, Rosie didn't manage to steal that one. That's unfortunate. So, you know, nothing gained, nothing ventured too far in the start of the game. But I'd be, if I'm the jungles, I'm going over to this duo lane and trying to get our footing there, because East and Nikos have shown that they're pretty much even. Siegel and Rosie have shown pretty much even. But this Wowie and Davros lane have just been absolutely slamming each other.
Yeah, both sides scrapping it out. Even the mid lane is going for a bit of a basic attack brawl here. But, you know, this is about the time we saw First Blood in the previous game. But this time, maybe not so. But in the right-hand side, actually, a blue buff scrap does go the way of Archies. But Ragnarok, low health, might pay with it with their lives. And yes, they shall. As now, East and Pandazap maybe looking to put some pressure onto Nikos, but instead will opt to go for the blue buff invade of their own. So Archies do come away with the ever-important blue buff, but they lose a kill and first blood at that. In the process, it's certainly not the spot you want to find yourselves in, but Nikos will defend their own blue buff and will be at least happy to take that trade, but ever so slight lead for Team Britain starting to form.
Yeah, I mean, look, you're happy with the pick, but if you're going to be losing both blue buffs, you're also happy with Archies. I mean, XP and gold wise, I'm pretty sure that's more important from the fact that it was split between the two. So yeah, I think both teams are happy with what happened, but again, it's still pretty even either way. I think it's about a 200 gold lead there. Oh, again, more fights. Just again, this duo lane just absolutely loves slamming each other.
Yeah, they've been battling back and forth for a good 2.5 hours now, but East on this King Arthur put on a great show for us last game, but certainly don't want to be falling early because Bellona, pretty strong early starter, especially with that Death's Toll style build. As we did see, a Final Judgment charged up there by Rosie, I believe. Didn't opt to fire it off, but when you get this early ultimate, you kind of want to be using it. So definitely trying to get active. Just then was the mid laner for Team Britain, but it's still only the 1 kill. 4 minutes in, normally we've been seeing the teams that did not get first blood fighting back quite early on, but this time, Archie's up to play it a bit slower.
Yeah, I mean, I think even there, East nearly taking a spill just shows how important these blue buffs are, especially for King Arthur. So, oh, Gab nearly going over, but able to save himself with the shield.
And that was close. That would certainly not have been the fight back that we have been seeing, as Archies would have dropped the second kill in just a couple of minutes. But now this time, blue buff being secured by Team Britain of their own, as a purple buff invade goes down as well, having sent back the enemy support, and Team Britain just having the better edge in these early scraps. Actually, Seagull making the rotation all the way over from mid lane to protect this purple buff. Davros gets aggressive, actually dive bombs forwards, but doesn't manage to connect with the enemy hunter. And that is a very strong defense of this purple buff from Archie, so showing that they're not willing to give up pressure too easily just yet.
Yeah, that's where you'd really like to see that from Archies. That's them planting their 2 feet in the ground and saying, no, we're not going to be rolled over, kind of like last game. And they seem to have traded duo pressure back over to themselves, which is really good to see. So overall, the game state seems to be pretty much back and forth. I mean, we do have a level lead in jungle, but I can't imagine it's more than half. And that's probably just owing to that one first blood. But everywhere else seems to be tying up. I do think I'm seeing a lot of poke come out from the south. Kind of seems to be bullying this Hugh Wang in the early game. So maybe Rosie can keep this up. But yeah, for the moment, we're pretty much on farming mode.
Yeah, tough, of course, to get early picks, certainly on your own in the mid lane. Despite having a decent lead and a lot of poke on this Toth, Dutch will actually have their own book, has picked up the Book of Toth, of course, means that it will start to be stacking up some high amounts of damage. And Rosie actually dashing very aggressively with that evade and punish and puts Seagull under tower. But this Yu Huang, as we've talked about, very, very safe guard, just got it up into the Celestial Flight and placed themselves in a very, very handy position. But Toad doesn't care too much about positioning, you know, has a lot of range on their abilities. And dashing aggressively again is Rose. He gets the invade on the red buff as well successfully. So this mid lane pressure finally starting to convert into some jungle camps. And maybe we'll see a bit more as Pandazep is on the scene.
Oh, here we go. And the final judgment misses. If I'm Seagull, I'm communicating to Ragnarok being like, yo, Rosie is flying at me Mach 10 with these dashes right up the wave. So if you want to be coming around, there's a Thoth without a dash here. So hopefully that's being spread around to the teammates to see if they can try push back this advance in the mid lane.
Rosie runs into the enemy jungle. It's not normally what you want to be seeing, but there's Nikos as well. There's the Grand Joust right on top of this Toth and catches Rosie right as they were a bit unaware of the rotation coming through, but a lot of low health bars. Nikos on the retreat. He's trying to find some kills, but can't connect with the rest of the damage. Pandazep fires a shot, but the magic shell will keep the rest of Archies alive, and 2 kills just like that in a blink of an eye, and all of the pressure has been relieved from Archies.
Yeah, I mean, that's so unfortunate from East. He kind of just saw, okay, look, I need to get a kill here because I'm definitely dead, but the shell comes out and that saves them. I think I saw it as well. We were talking earlier, the Grand Joust actually crippled South mid-dash, and that just left Rosie without a way out. So that's really good that Ragnarok has decided to focus this South, because they're pretty much the only one on the team capable of doing it at the minute. So yeah, super good fight from Team Archies there.
Yeah, and that's what they needed, because they were coming under some pressure. Rosie had been, you know, free casting, doing whatever you want, and I appreciate the style of play coming out. You know, that's what you want to be doing with that sort of advantage as Toth, but finally getting punished for it is what Archies would have been looking for. So the scrap in the dual lane coming through here, we've seen it throughout the entire set so far, and of course between Hu Yi and her, of course, it's quite an even matchup in the sense that if one person gets the jump on the other, that's it. The fight's just done. It can be over in just a matter of seconds. But again, coming up to the left lane as well, he puts out a lot of damage with that Desert Fury, but Davros on the retreat does have the backup of their jungler too, and there's a root in the Sunbreaker. Can we get away from Ragnarok? It looks like they can, and Demise will be the consolation prize for Archies, but there's Pandazap jumping through, but doesn't connect with the Fear No Evil as the dive bomb comes out over the top of it, and that's a big rotation coming over, but not successful for Team Britain, who are now starting to drop just a few too many kills.
Yeah, that feels really bad using a home bat ult and it just gets jumped over like that. That's a big tool gone. You're feeling happy there if you're Davros. Good to see as well as Mento's not shaken from last game with a
Rosie.
Well, we go in about 13-0 there. Rosie getting a little bit too cozy there, but it's going to make it a fine. And Archies are going to try to steal away this Scorpion. So it's going to be about an extra 200 gold in their pocket. East getting caught out a little bit here. Hopefully King Arthur can kind of escape. Gable misses. And looks like Tower Ult is going to be getting on 3 of Archie's team there. And Gab's going to be going down. Rosie picks that up. East in the back line is going to be picking up. Ooh, and then Nikos catches it off. So that's a good trade. Ooh, Final Judgment connects onto Seagull. So that's going to be a 1-3, if I'm reading that correctly. So that's actually really good if you're going to be Team Britain. Again, both teams seem to be getting pressure for about a minute and a half, and then something happens and it gets flip-flopped over. So this is the most even we've probably seen the game state in the last 2 games. But Team Archie is still holding on to about a 1k lead there.
Yeah, we did see, of course, East running into massive amounts of trouble. When you turn a corner and there's 4 enemies there, it certainly doesn't feel good. But King Arthur, of course, pretty good at avoiding that sort of conflict. Gets up into the Excalibur's Wrath. Avoids, actually, I think it was 2 ultimates. He avoided the Cataclysm from the Geb and also Eagle's Rally coming out from Nico. So a bit of mistiming from Archies there. Actually swung the team fight all the other way because East has the time to get forward, get on the back line and take out an enemy before going down. So a really good fight for Team Britain. And Rosie now, again, feeling the confidence of this Toth pick, has just been pushing up, again trying to invade the enemy red buff and really not being too punished for it. But I don't know, like you said earlier, I think Ragnarok just needs to get onto this Toth because you can't leave a Toth having freedom.
Yeah, I mean, Rosie just seems to be absolutely no care that there's a jungle in this game. And bar that 1 kill we saw Ragnarok pick up, he's pretty much left her all to her own. So I'd like to see Lancelot a bit more in this lane. Now that we see, even though East did really well in that fight to stay alive and stall it out, it has cost him 2 levels. Final Judgment again being charged by Rosie, but opting not to hit a full health Geb.
Chase down coming through. Frostbite gets the knockup, but a nice monolith there. Will
Great
lock
monolith.
Frostbite away from their mid laners, keeping a little bit of extra safety on this Toth, who has actually 5-man rotation into this mid lane. Certainly got to be careful, but when you're playing so crazily, you sort of warrant that response. But the Gold Fury may be being looked at. It's just the Oracles for the time being, but we're still having 4 members over here. Archie's certainly wanting to make a play, but I think they need to look for a pick first, and that pick of choice will actually be Rosie on this Toth, who of course has the great steal potential with that Final Judgment. But it's a good route there with the channel down. A lot of damage in response. Dueling Dragon, so does not connect with the push. There's Panda Zap coming through. Does have the Fear No Evil available. Will they look to find a target? Looks like Seagull will retreat as the scrapping in this dual lane continues on ever more. Desert Fury actually for the purification, but that's not enough as well. He take a lot of damage on the tower, but will just about live.
Last auto.
And in the middle lane, Ragnarok falls down to their opposing jungler, who finds the Fear No Evil onto Seagull. Will Celestial Flight on out of there? Maybe they'll take the Constellation Prize of Frostbite, but a lot of stuns coming out from Demise, who putting a ton of damage onto the mid laner, and East will come on in and sweep that kill up as Nico's trying to make the rotation in to find any more kills, but it's not going to be in time as Team Britain take another good fight and manage to keep their hunter alive in the left lane.
Yeah, I mean, it's also super unfortunate from Archies because they had the Bologna come over looking for a Gold Fury to see if they could get the pick, and the whole time East was just over taking all these waves away. So that actually, now that 2-level gap's actually gone to, I think it's about a half level plus 2 picks. So that's actually really, really good for East and the rest of the team. It's unfortunate that they wasted that rotation with the Bologna.
Yeah, it was a long way to travel, of course, to get absolutely nothing for it, especially because these tier 1 towers, relatively low health. You can clear that up. Looks like Pyromancer being considered on the right-hand side of the map, but there's Davros burning the Purification Beads early to prevent too much aggression. Final Judgment gets charged up. Davros takes a few shots, does dodge out the ability, but it doesn't matter because the Impale through the tower from Wooey will take that kill away. So getting their revenge there. Does Wooey on this, and her was under a lot of pressure, goes forced back to base, but comes right on back and will pick up a kill. But Ragnarok fighting back as well. Archies are definitely down, but certainly not out.
Yeah, I mean, look, they had that 1k lead. That's now actually gone to a 1k lead in favor of Team Britain. You'd love to see from Wowie that he's able to get the kill onto this Ho Yi, because again, these 2 ADCs have just been so instrumental in the late game. So it's really important that they've got that pick and left. And you'd love to see that. Now, we might actually be getting the mid lane rotating over here, but it's only a level 11 Hugh Wang. So, it's still maybe going to catch East. That's a huge pickup for Seagull, especially now that he was 2 levels behind. He's closed that down to 1.
Of course, King Arthur, not the type of god that falls down easily, and they might try to convert this into a pyromancer. It looks like Team Britain just not aware of this going on right now. We do see Pendazap in the right-hand lane. They'll trade Pyro for purple buff. Certainly not what you want to be doing, because you have an opportunity at Gold Fury, but dashing on to Davros now. A big commitment coming into this left side lane. There's the Sunbreaker coming down. Desert Fury doesn't connect with enough because of the Aegis Amulet, but they will take another kill onto this Hu Yi. So they do manage to get a lot of pressure on this left-hand side. You put your carry in a great position, but losing the Pyromancer means that your team-wide gold is now not as much, and Pendazap needs to be careful. There's Frostbite looking around the backside with a roll-up, leapt right on over with the somersault. Absolute minuscule margin there, because they could have been in a lot of danger, but Team Britain might be happy with how this game has gone, but Archies certainly fighting back well.
Yeah, I mean, look, if you're Davros there, you're 100% dead. Like, there's literally no way to survive that. And, I mean, if you're just going to get one pick onto the ADC versus the Pyro, I'm pretty happy as Archies, but you also don't want this lead in duo, because we saw last time Wowie was able to do so much with that lead. Already 2-0-0. I mean, 13 more kills, and they've got their scoreline from last game, so already on the way for a repeat performance.
Yeah, you certainly don't want to let, especially a god like Anher, get out of control, right? Because they're not the best in the late game. Of course, no steroid available to the Anher, so it definitely doesn't have the brightest spark in the late game. But this stage right now, this sort of 16-minute mark, is when Anher's most dangerous, because they can impale you to a wall, get a couple extra shots, and that Desert Fury will finish off absolutely anyone that tries to step up to this god. Now, Davros on the Hu Yi has fared quite well, but when you get put down twice in very quick succession, you suddenly find yourself a lot further behind than you maybe thought you were before. And Pendazap's doing a lot of damage with that monkey going out. So, there's definitely a lot of danger for Archies, but well, here's a lot of pressure onto East. There's a big commitment onto the solo laner. It means that left side will be some aggression coming out too, but East taking so much damage, dishing it out in the meantime onto Ragnarok, who has to back away. I'm not sure if they're going to be able to take down this King Arthur in the middle lane, but they will be able to take down Rosie on this Koth, finally falling again after being so aggressive on this left-hand side. So what was possibly a chance at a Gold Fury ends up being a pick for Archies. They drop the kill in mid, but they do pick up the kill on left. Now Pendazap with no cooldowns available on the retreat as Nico's coming through. A nice crushing earth there, though, will stop the advancement of this Bellona, and a big rotation over for Archies. They might now look to the Gold Fury.
Yeah, I mean, look, although they're a man behind, Team Britain's looking at these low health bars on Seagull and Davros, both the carries. Potentially there's something they can do to stall this out, especially with this monster lead that Wowie's got. He's got that Kins over the Davros, so he's going to be doing a lot of damage. But again, 5 members going to be chasing down Dueling Dragons just off the mark. You're clipping Wowie there. But it looks like this Blink's going to be coming out from Lancelot, and the Eagle's probably going to be able to finish off the Impale and the Shell just does enough. And East holds back 4 members to let his carry get out. Well done, well played. But I feel like they're losing the Gold Fury here.
Yeah, that's definitely a good choice. Drop your solo laner in favor of keeping your carry alive, but they do start up the Gold Fury duo. She's going to take a lot of damage in the process. Few low health bars. Nico still smacking with that hammer. Pendazap has to somersault on away, but with the amount of pressure that's being put onto Seagull here, there's Rosie having to dash away. Of course, Rosie just respawning from the base, certainly doesn't want to fall down again, but they get knocked up into the Sunbreaker. Desert Fury comes through, can't find the last little hit. There's a final judgment coming through, will find the damage onto the enemy support just in time. A lot of kills going back and forth, though. This is the 3 for 2 already as Pendazap manages to pick up Seagull, who was lurking around the backside on very low health. It looks like Davros will escape with their lives, but there was still no Gold Fury for Archies, and it will live on to be contested yet again in just a few minutes.
Yeah, look, Archies need to be saying to each other, if they don't get the Gold Fury straight away, I mean, Davros was about yellow HP, Seagull was about yellow HP. We even saw that Rosie, they were there for so long that the Thos was able to come back. if they didn't get that straight away, I would have loved to see them back at full HP bars and then try get ward set up so that when the next Gold Fury fights, they've got that advantage. But they just stayed a little bit too long and took some spills. So there's going to be this 3k lead still pretty much firmly in Team Britain's corner.
So East swinging back, of course, has taken quite a few spills so far this game. 2 and 4 on the King Arthur. Not having quite as clean of a game as they had previously, but, you know, King Arthur can manage that, can manage a bit of a deficit and still show up. Of course, has Manticore Spikes and Glad Shield online, so that is a ton of damage available to this King Arthur. Now just needs to get the tankiness on board. Rosie slamming out some shots, but actually quite low down on the player damage shots, considering, you know, it's actually ever so slightly behind Seagull on this Yu Huang, who's had a bit of freedom over the last few minutes, but has still fallen down a couple of times themselves. But, you know, we're coming into this stage now with a decent goal lead in favor of Team Britain. But, I don't know, Archies, they have plenty of fight back in them. Is there a specific target that Team Britain should be going for here in order to win these fights?
I mean, yeah, look, they've got to be focused on the fact that they've got another huge lead in this ADC role. So this Hugh Wong's only 15, and you've got a Wowie at 19. You've got a Humbats with 3 levels above both of the carries. I mean, they've just got to be getting the damage off the way. But Fear No Evil is going to be forced out. I think Panda Zap's going to be okay here, but the auto cancels are actually super clean from Ragnarok, and he's just going to chase the Humbats down and get a pick. That's huge for Team Archies. Really good from Ragnarok, but they're going to get chased off East again, just being this unstoppable, immovable object that is just getting in the way of all the objectives. The Terror ult is good, and Rosie gets the dash and gets the root, and that's going to be taken out Seagull. Final Judgment connects onto Nikos. Impale connects onto Nikos. Shell needs to use. Eagles Rally used. And looks like the... Oh. Anher's okay. Anher's always going to get that Arcanic 4 stat line preserved. I thought maybe that was going to spill over, but that's going to be the FD for Team Britain unless maybe we can see show face here from the rest of Team Archies, but I'm not a huge fan of it. They do have the Hoi ult up though. That's a good zoning ult. But again, the dive bomb forced out straight away. Rosie in a position to attack.
Oh, they're gonna drop.
Fire Giant getting low.
Pick it back up. It's close. It's back and forth. East now tanking it. Will take a lot of damage in the Sunbreaker as well. Gets knocked up. Gets too much damage and will fall down to Davros. Now the stun comes through, but a good angle from Ragnarok. Finds Rosie on the backside. Will give chase with the Grand Joust onto this Toth, who cannot do anything about this Lancelot, who will charge down the mid laner and take them out. Now the Fire Giant stays standing. It's 2 kills already. 1 way, but a Fear No Evil on the 3 people. Out of nowhere, coming through. Swings down under Ragnarok. Doesn't find the last hit though. But we'll get a somersault over the wall. Davros falls down. They clean it up again in response. And Pandazap coming back from a death early on before that team fight really went down means they can turn it around and will just settle this time for the Pyromancer. But Archies, whenever they get a bit of a window into this game, Team Britain slam it back shut. But Pandazap now gets slammed down by Nikos, and the kill is going back and forth.
I mean, yeah, like I was going to say that there was just such a sloppy play there from Team Britain, staying way too long at the FG pit. East get knocked up, not a lot of communication on whether they're going to commit or not commit. And then Archie's getting such a good position with 3 picks. And then Pandazap comes in, hero, 3 big goes and gets picked. And now no one can do the FG. So it feels like there's either a little bit too much excitement from both teams, or they just don't have the patience for these objectives. But yeah, it's flip-flopping on what people are going to do, but mistakes being punished left and right.
Yeah, of course, both teams finding good angles. So I got to give commendation to both junglers here. Both got 4 kills apiece and are really finding their windows of opportunities onto these mid laners. 4 kills for both junglers and 4 deaths for both mid laners is not a shock. It's exactly how it's been happening by design. Both sides really facing up, and the backline is really not having a lot of freedom, except for Wooey on this Anher. Has had a great time, 6-0 so far on the Anher, and still showing up for more fighting. But speaking of of fighting, though. Rosie pushing up even more aggressively. It's always in the face, almost acting like a frontliner for Team Britain, just getting up close and personal at all times. Now, this Gold Fury seems to be the target as Team Britain opt to venture away from the Fire Giant.
Yeah, this is going to be a free Gold Fury. I think they've just done enough to scare away Archies there. Looks like East may be taking a spill in return, so this might not be good if they're looking for... Oh, Excalibur's Rask just going to be used as a get out of there card. And then, Dueling Dragons again. Oh my god, he's literally on solo with the Terra Heel.
He's alive!
Save. King East is going to get out of there. Final Judgment misses. That pick would have been so instrumental for a Fire Giant dance here, but it looks like East is just going to slip on out of there with the King Arthur movement.
East will say that was calculated, but, you know...
Oh yeah, 100% calculated, down to the number, for sure.
Calculated, but I don't know how good they are at math. Let's just put it that way, because that was way too close. But the Fire Giant now in prime position for Team Britain to take it. Actually have a lot of space, and are they going to start this up? Yes, they will. So what is the response like for Archies? Because they're certainly not ready for this. It is only Ragnarok here in position. Half health already is the Fire Giant. Rosie set up to secure this, and Team Britain will take it away very cleanly without even winning a fight beforehand. But now Archies come in on the defense. Are a touch too late, though. Who will Team Britain opt to focus down? It looks like Frostbite is the target. Triple Cataclysm will not be enough, though, because Wu is unstoppable on this and her as they continue to charge forward. They cannot lock down East, and they pay the price as they give up the Fire Giant 25 minutes into this game, and Team Britain in the driving seat.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm not sure if I'm seeing that correct. That is a Sunder for the Terra, is it not? Because if so, that's such an alpha pick, especially with Geb's shield. I absolutely love that. Just heard it go off there. Just turned Geb from a rock into a marshmallow, so they're going to be falling over. Left T2 going to be going down as well, so we're going to be seeing a huge gold swing. Mid tower, actually, they're going to be going for this Phoenix. I think so. Looks like Seagull stepped a bit too forward. Fear No Evil going off. Bologna going to need to get out of there.
Fury. Oh, fantastic. Snipes through the wall there. It's a big, risky situation for Archies to be in because this Phoenix, already low health, there's a good Sunbreaker there to scare away the rest of Team Britain, but they can re-engage, of course, have the Fire Giant buff. We'll just sit for a moment. Davros gets poked away, has to retreat. Still only the 3 members here left around for Archies. This Phoenix is taking a while to go down. Grand Joust coming forward from Ragnarok, who just has to retreat because the Phoenix is gone. And if they drop too many kills here, they're at risk of losing this game and this entire set. But Team Britain will think better of it, will retreat and opt to go for the rest of these tier 2 towers. But Archies dicing with death at the moment.
Yeah, I mean, I think the health bars were just slightly too low for Team Britain. They got a bit too shaky to fully commit there to see if they could end. I think it was actually a really good... Oh, hold on, in the mid lane, looks like... Oh, Panda's are just going to get picked out by this Landstorm. I have to say, Ragnarok's been doing very well on these 1v1s. Just absolutely closing it down. I mean, if Humbats doesn't have the ult... Actually, Humbats did have the ult, I believe. Just didn't have time to react, so that's actually such a good pick for Ragnarok now to try slow down this Fire Giant push, and maybe we'll see this stall it off a bit so that they can kind of recover, get some gold for the next one. I don't think they're going to be looking to siege the 4v5, so you just see all of Team Archies on the right hand side picking up any farm they can, and Pyromancer up as well. I think if they had enough wards and knew where Team Britain was, they could try get that. Might be a nice little grand in their pocket, but doesn't look like they're going to go for it, so they're just going to be setting up here for a defense. Waves in the left lane, not too pushed up as you would like if you're your Team Archies, so they might have to go deal with that pretty soon.
Yeah, of course, you know, when you find you get just one Phoenix, we discussed this in the earlier games, having that left side Phoenix be the one that you take down is exactly what you're looking for. You know, it gives you the freedom of the map, of the entire right side of the map, it has to be said, where you can then push through these tier 2s that are still remaining, and you can take your time if you are Team Britain. Of course, they did drop Panda Zap early on, but Panda Zap has respawned. You know, doesn't have the enhanced the Fire Giant buff, but doesn't really need it. You know, that Fear No Evil still does the same amount of CC, whether it does a lot of damage or not quite as much damage. So these tier 2 towers going to certainly be under a lot of pressure. And Wooey, of course, swinging really hard on his Anhur. You know, hasn't gone down now in about 50 minutes of Smite game action. So certainly feeling confident with his safety of this hunter. Now, we'll take the Pyromancer, take the tier 2 in right. We'll take that sweet ass time as they push down all of these objectives to just get themselves set up for the next Fire Giant in about 30 seconds. But do Archies have what it takes to, despite this 10,000 gold deficit, to fight back in and maybe steal away this Fire Giant?
We've seen different from the other two games as well. That was actually the mid Phoenix taken down by both teams respectively, and that didn't actually do a whole lot for them. But now that we've seen this left Phoenix, folks, we can actually see the difference in what pressure that brings, because this looks like such a stronger foundation from Team Britain. Whereas you take this from the other games at half an hour, it was still flip-floppy and it was getting very messy. But Team Britain seemed to finally have gotten a hold on how to siege properly and know when to attack and when to just get this farm. So it's actually not looking great for Archies if Team Britain can just kind of keep this composure. So the Fire Giant's going to be coming up now in about 30 seconds. I'd love to see a lot more wards from Team Archies here, get some deep wards while Team Britain aren't showing face just beforehand, but it looks like they're not going to make it there in time. Just one ward in the middle of the Fire Giant pit, but I can imagine that's all going to get taken down now here. So Team Britain in a pretty advantageous spot for this next team fight.
Well, it's timed out perfectly that right as the Fire Giant's about to appear, so is the left side Phoenix. So Frostbite
the damage
will fall
onto
down, though. I was about to say that Archies have to make a choice. Will they defend the Fire Giant or will they defend the Phoenix? They're now down a member to defend this Fire Giant, so they certainly have to get that Phoenix, but it looks like they will just sacrifice it. Fire Giant started up already by Team Britain. They're going to blow it up pretty quickly as well. But they're instead going to look for the fight. They're going to push forward as East is causing so much damage onto the 4 members, but they smell blood. Do Team Britain and the snipe through the wall. Long range coming through there. Will lock down Nikos, who has to retreat with the Eagles rally. It's hard to escape from a Hunbat, who doesn't, however, have Fire Giant buff, so of course will fall down quite easily. So now Team Britain opt to back up and go for this Fire Giant instead, as you've mentioned, has ticked over to Enhanced Fire Giant, so they do get the buff that they were looking for, but they take a lot of damage in the process. And, you know, maybe that wasn't quite the right play there. It's a great snipe through the wall from Rosie, but it could have been so much more.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's great to get the pick, but they didn't really need it, and they had the EFG anyway. I think they got a bit too excited, especially if you've got Hobats jumping into the communication between the team is a bit off there. So I guess there's still a little bit of glimpse of that messy gameplay we're seeing where teams get excited and start diving and the siege doesn't go the way they want it. But they're still pretty confident now with the 4v4 for the next 5 seconds. Oh, Grand Joust just absolutely slices through Wowie, and Lancelot's probably going to be finishing off this kill. He's going to be chasing Rosie as well the whole way. Big Gebalt, but it's just going to get cleansed. He's going to pick up Rosie now here as well. East going to be running away, and that's going to leave room for Demise to get out of here. But I'm not sure if this King Arthur is going to be able to escape all 5 members. Hoyi hitting the stun. Beads going to be used. Slow coming on. Geber in the corner. This is surely just a matter of time before East is getting out of here. Putting another one of his dances on to see if he can delay as long as possible. But it looks like he's going to be picked up. Demise just in the corner watching his teammate cut to ribbons. So it looks like we're going to be getting a few towers, if not maybe a Phoenix for Team Archies here. And again, this is exactly, we've seen this every single game. These teams just, they go for the siege and it just doesn't work out. And now I think with the way we're far into this game, gold's not really mattering too much. So we're pretty much at an even game state, bar this Phoenix in the top left, which I actually think did fall again. But it looks like, oh, Grand Joust catching Fear No Evil coming out, gonna be enough. But oh no, he's coming out through from below, and he's gonna pick that up. 3 down now.
Team Britain bleeding kills away. You don't want to give up
Team
too much.
Britain, Geb gonna have to back.
And yet, gonna have to retreat all the way our Archies now, but they've smash and grabbed this right side Phoenix down. It's not the ideal Phoenix, but it is the easiest target for them. But Demise not giving up this chase at all. Seagull under so much pressure. There's a great pillar with a Desert Fury combined on top. But Seagull just about stays alive. There's a good Cataclysm to keep the team safe, but a double stun coming out. Demise is crushing through this enemy team. This will be not happy about falling down for the first time in these 2 games. Fights all the way back, and East gets 1 kill now. Davros being chased, gets knocked up. There's the purification beads, but it will not be enough because Wui picks up a double kill. And now the Titan on the side of Archies under some pressure. Mid lane Phoenix under some pressure too. Can Archies put up a 2-man defense to stay alive in this game?
Yeah, we'll see if they're gonna. Yeah, they're going straight.
The way
Right into the Titan. Titan at about half
again.
health. These minions from the left lane were just not dealt with. Oh, Wowie getting low. Titan also getting low.
Wowie falls down.
When the
Titan
ADC is going to be
low.
falling down, but this Titan's down way too low. Surely this just gets finished off here.
it's
Last bit
just
of damage
Demise
coming out
left.
from Ragnarok.
Demise, can they find the last little
Demise.
bits of damage? It's just Demise left alive. They don't find it. It's a triple
they
kill for
don't find
Ragnarok.
it.
They
They
don't
don't
manage
find
to lock down the Titan. The Titan will keep on living for even that much longer. It got so low. But the left side Phoenix for the side of Archies will now respawn
Yeah,
as well.
just popping
And
up,
Archies
so-
will be able to stay alive and start healing up their Titan. It does not get much closer than that.
That is such a huge blow for Team Britain, especially after such a long set like this. They started sieging the way they wanted to, and it just about wasn't enough. And it's such unfortunate timing with this Phoenix coming up. The health of the Titan's going to be back up by the time any meaningful fight happens. So that was basically for naught. If anything, you've just given a number of shutdowns. I mean, look, this Lancelot 12-4-6 has been just absolutely running these fights. So yeah, we're going to be going back to our standard fire giant dance. I mean, I think Onai Fury's up. I'd love to see if Archies could get this to just expel the last of these fire waves, but it looks like Hoyi's just going to do it manually. And yeah, so the Phoenix advantage actually now over to Archies in a somewhat surprising, but also from how these games have been going, predictable turn of events.
Yeah, of course, Fire Giant on the way in about 30 seconds. So dead even on these two teams, except for the slight advantage in Phoenix's for Archies. But that's sort of counteracted by the fact that Team Britain still have quite a lot of towers online. So it does keep their Titan relatively healthy. But Oni Fury will be great for them to fend off some of these waves. But Fire Giant now on the way down from the sky. The grouping from Team Britain is good, but Archies are on scene just a little bit earlier to get those wards down. Fire Giant Dance will soon be commencing, and both teams, they've played a long slog of a set. It's been some crazy back and forth. I can't believe that Titan didn't go down, but it's already up to half health. So backdoor is off the table for Team Britain. They'll have to get through the face of Archies. They will have to head them off, but the Fire Giant has respawned. Both teams in position. Slightly more defensive positioning taken up by both sides, actually opting to hold off in almost like a straight defensive line to hold their own ground, but the Fire Giant left relatively unscathed. Ragnarok on the right-hand side flirting about with the potential to dive onto a backliner, but neither team wanting to commit forward, Panda.
No, and I mean, look, Team Britain is kind of happy if this fire dance goes along, because if we can see these Onai waves, I mean, they are getting met with a big wave, but I mean, that Phoenix is half health. These Onai waves might be able to do something. So I think Archies kind of needs to get this ball rolling, or they need to send someone back to defend, because they don't want to lose that Phoenix for free, because that'll just leave their base wide open if this team fight doesn't go their way. Yeah, so the Pyromancer just going over to Team Britain there. Not much of a consequence, but you're always happy with a bit of extra gold. And it looks like Ragnarok might be getting caught out a bit here. Oh, Rosie's dash forward. I'm not sure I love it. She's going to get caught out here now with no dash. It's going to be a trade. And then we've got Bologna there just zoning off the rest of the two, which is just left East versus all four members of Team Archies. But it looks like it's going to go too fast. And a pick to the jungle, but if you're losing your 12-5 jungle versus your 5-7 mid lane, I'm feeling pretty good if we're Team Britain here.
The Phoenix goes down.
Oh, it did go down. It did go down, yeah.
At the very last moment, Nikos did teleport over, but it does go down. The Fire Giant will get started up by Team Britain, but here's Nikos on the backside, coming over. It will threaten off Team Britain, but East low health and Demise scrapping it out with the enemy support, but they're already going in. Nikos finds an angle onto Wooey. Will put a lot of damage onto this man who has to retreat from the Eagles rally, but now Nikos caught isolated. Burns the Desert Fury, and Nikos will fall down. Wooey picks up that kill. That's now on the backside. Pandazap coming through onto Frostbite, who falls down. Seagull gets a nice Dueling Dragons for safety. Will fly on up to the sky, but Demise gives chase with a big crushing earth there. The root comes through. East takes a ton of damage, actually. Really low health, but East will stay alive, and EU Huang will fall down. Seagull does die. The team of Team Britain will have to return to base to come back for this Fire Giant. Archie's putting up more and more of a defense, but it's just starting to eke away from them.
Yeah, it just seems they're just shy of these fights going even. It spills over. It's so unfortunate, as I was saying about those Onai waves. I wasn't sure they could take the Phoenix, but they just chewed right through it. So now that advantage that's going to be left open. I can't. If I'm Team Britain here, I'm just going to this EFG. I don't know what they're waiting for. Just burst this down. If they show up, kill them. Yeah, there we go. That's all you got to do. Get the CFG. Maybe like to see if they could probably head down right lane here. Mid lane's quite pushed up as well. So, yeah, it's not looking good if you're Team Archies. You've still got 20 seconds on your mid lane. I wonder where Team Britain is going to go. It looks like they're opting to take the right-hand side, push this up. Rosie going to back, maybe get some pots as well as Wowie there. So, probably going to see a little stalled buy items here, and then we're going to be on to what could potentially be our final push of this 3-game set.
Yeah, they're going to opt this time to push up the right side of the map because that left side Phoenix already down. Small consolation prize for Archies. They do finally take the tier 1 tower on the left-hand side. It's going to be one of the latest tier 1 towers I've ever seen go down. 40 minutes into this one. It's been a long set of this best of 3. Just seems to be the way it goes when we're casting Glaria. It seems to be these long, extended tactical engagements. But we continue forward into
Printer's
this
giggling
defense.
in the background there.
Is this the last stand for Archies as they hold on to this right side Phoenix? It's a full-on 5 versus 5, but 5 members of Team Britain will have enhanced Fire Giant. Can Team Britain conquer down another area as Archie's under some pressure? The first wave comes on in. Rosie continually charging up that final judgment just to threaten a reaction from Archie's, but Ragnarok will clear away this mid lane wave as it's not being put under too much pressure, just being hinted at and feathered with just a touch. But the left side fire minions are slowly on their way, and Team Britain, with the entirety of this enhanced Fire Giant timer, will be able to take their time, wait for these minions to show on up. It's about that time as the right side wave comes up. Do they engage? Not quite yet. Still looking for the best angle. Demise step forward. Cataclysm comes through. There's the Eagles rally already coming on. Wooey low health on the backside, has to retreat all the way out. Ragnarok gets slammed down by Rosie. Meanwhile, Davros manages to kill the opposing ADC. Nikos diving onto the enemy backline as Davros picks up East. This is a good fight so far, but Pandazap on the Titan on the backside forces the back out from 2 members. They back to base. They do manage to save this Titan just about, because that was a big fire wave coming through. It was almost looking so good for Archies, but the heads up play from Pandazap means the mid lane Phoenix does go down, threatens the Titan, so forces back the rest of Archies, and they put up a good defense, but they do bleed just a touch.
Yeah, I mean, even though I like the idea of the split push, they did get that mid Phoenix. You'd love a Fear No Evil in this fight, and I mean, it's the same thing that's literally happened every time. We've got a split push in the mid lane, Phoenix goes down, and then the 5 members of the defending team just spill out and kill the remaining 4. But there goes Fear No Evil on Seagull. He hasn't got the beads. Beads is too late. He's picked off. It's going to be a huge pick. Looks like Nikos maybe in a bit of trouble here. Panda's up going to get out of there, no problem. Okay, and then we've got it at 62 seconds on the mid laner for Archies. That's not what you want to see, but it looks like the 3 players remaining of Team Britain can't do much, so this game will be stalled. But 2 Phoenixes down, 1 barely holding its head above water here. So, yeah, Team Archies managed to hold on just about again.
I feel like Pandazap might have the highest structure damage in the game right now. He's taken down several Phoenixes now at this point. Does sneak in for that right side Phoenix, of course, which is very important now because there will be so many fire minions pulling down through each of these waves. This is looking a lot like Game 1, where Team Britain can't quite get the ending coming through, but they're trying everything. They're coming at different angles and definitely making this split push work out in their favor. Fire Giant buff will now be despawning, but Archies couldn't possibly stand up to contest it because there's just too many fire minions coming through onto a Titan that's still not full health. But I don't know, that the defense has been so good. I just feel like we are now coming to the end of this set finally.
Yeah, for sure. All the games seem to be death by 1,000 cuts, but I love the use of this trebuchet here. I think the trebuchet is a little bit underrated and not utilized a lot in this set, because with the trebuchet, it just means the team has to come out to you, because you can just sit there fat and pretty and just watch it chip away. So it gives you the advantage. Now they're sending this down to the last remaining feet. I mean, I couldn't imagine Archie stepping up to fight this EFG anyway, but now with the trebuchet and all these minions, they surely just have to give it away for free and just try to see if they can take on 5 members of Team Britain with EFG. I mean, they've kind of shown that they can. Yeah, it's still looking in favor of Team Britain, but experience is telling me that something's probably going to go sideways.
Well, something will be brewing, but it certainly won't be at this enhanced fire giant. It's about to make its way down in just a few seconds. Currently falling from the sky is that Nos giant coming down, but there's Nico's trying to show a bit of face.
I don't like them stepping off. Just give it away.
Just let this one go. But all 5 members of Archies are over here. The mid lane Phoenix, still dead for a while, so there's a lot of fire minions coming through. And now Team Britain will start up the fire giant. Archies going to contest this. They're trying to make the way over. Nico's first on scene. Fire giant half health. There's the Grand Joust coming through on the back line. Team Britain to secure it. Right, Rosie low health. Will just dash on away though. Nico's can't find the last little bit of damage. And there's the 2 divers already falling down. There's only 3 members left alive from Archies, facing up to 5 with enhanced fire giant. Davros gets the Sunbreaker out, but we'll have to retreat. Pandasap dashing forward, jumping onto Frostbite. There's the Sundering Spear coming through, taking down this Geb. Overhand slam onto 2 more members. Seagull falls down to East, charging forward. Fire minions on the Titan, and it will go down as Archies could not hold on any longer. The Titan will fall. Team Britain, after a long set, almost 3 hours of gameplay, take us through with the 2-1 victory. Panda, what a great set.
Yeah, it's super fun to watch. I mean, as you said it, in that position, you just can't be stepping up to the FG like that. I mean, it was close, but it went pretty much the way we thought, that you can't be showing up that late. But super good effort from all teams. That has solidified Team Britain now as 2-0 and Archie's 1-1 on the leaderboard. So I'm sure Printers will have a lot to say about that on the rankings between all the players. But Cheers, who would you put for all 3 games as your MVP?
Oh, it's complicated because a lot of good play was coming out from both sides. I think Pandazap in that last game really showing up in some massive moments on the Hunbats. But you have to say, Wooey here, 30 kills in 2 games. It's hard to look past the Hunter for Team Britain. Did it quietly, wasn't storming through these team fights, but was just picking up a couple of kills every fight. Double kill. All of a sudden, it's Anher into double digits and ending 2 games in a row, I think, with 15 kills. So really strong from the Hunter. And
East has us at Wooey was 29-3 in the last 2 games. So
crazy.
Yeah, if your ADC's popping off like that and you're not winning the set, something's gone wrong. So I mean, they've cleared it out now. So yeah, East for me, not East for me. Sorry, East. Wowie for me is going to be the MVP as well. So yeah, really good set.
Yeah, and of course that sees the second week of fixtures concluded here, as we see in this table coming up. Team Britain will be leading the way as being the only team actually to win their first 2 games. So a lot of even play throughout the league, but it does result in one team making themselves clearly ahead at this early stage. So definitely a great situation to be in. But that is it for this set, ladies and gentlemen. That is it for the stream. Thank you everyone for stopping by. I've been Judas Priestley. Joining me today has been Obese Panda 101. Jumping on for the cast. I believe that was your first cast. Is that right, Panda?
That is correct. Yeah.
Well,
very stressful.
hell of a bloody to come through with an almost 3-hour cast. But shout outs, of course, to Printers on Production, not only running the league, but running the game for us on the broadcast. Always gotta give that big shout out, is always a great help. But of course, if you are interested in this league, make sure you sign up to it. Join in the Discord, have a little chat, find yourselves a team to join in on, and let's see if you can top Team Britain, who are already getting themselves off to a great start. But I've been Judas Priestley. Joining me today is Obese Panda, and Panda, as it is your first cast, I will let you sign us off.
Oh God. Okay. Goodbye. See you later.
I'll take it. Let's go.